Those emotions are always close to the surface, right? Lewis Moody highlights reel. The first thing that comes up is that fucking fight with Alex. So basically I became the first Englishman in roughly 100 years to be sent off. It's one of those moments in your life where you realise you're either going to sink or swim. You know, with great success comes huge disappointment, failure. And failure and success are totally entwined in sport. And you normalise pressure. People kept talking to me when I got diagnosed with M&D about sort of bucket lists. I was like, I don't need a bucket list. Like I've done a lot of enjoyment. Like I will continue to do a lot of enjoyment. I'll continue to do a lot of living.
How would you explain motor neurone disease?
Kills your motor neurons, which eventually, kills your muscles. So your muscles gradually waste away. I choose to do more of the things that I love. I don't know how long I'll get to do that for. I'm trying to process it all. We're trying to work through it. But I know it's going to be okay. I know it's going to be okay. I know it's going to be hard. And this is the difficult thing, right? It's like
I'm going to lose you one day. I don't want that.
Yeah.
Every minute of this I absolutely loved. I could go another 2 or 3 hours doing this.
You're going to cry again?
No. I'm not.
Here you are.
Are you?
Yeah.
Lewis, welcome to the show, mate. Lovely to see you.
Yeah, that was a professional introduction. Well
Thank
done. Your voice was much more sort of elevated.
So I want to roll the way back. What was it like being the first ever England rugby player to be sent off at Twickenham for fighting the biggest ever rugby player to play rugby from Samoa?
The biggest ever rugby player to play rugby from Samoa. That is the best introduction to Alex Tuolangi. We're talking a long time ago now.
Oh, you was it?
2005. Yeah. So I played for 15 years, Leicester, Bath, England Lions, across some of the most successful teams, which I was privileged and lucky to be a part of, timing, all that type of jazz. And you'd think that after a star-studded career like that, you'd put like a highlights reel into Google or whatever, and into a search engine that, Lewis Moody highlights reel, it would come up with, decent number of tries, sidesteps, big hits. I love chasing, smashing a few people. That was the thing I loved about the game, is physicality. But literally, the first thing that comes up is that fucking fight with Alex. Like one fight, I got sent off once in my entire career. And it always makes for interesting viewing. But I suppose if we're talking honestly about it, because we share anecdotes about the game, right, from when we've played. And one of the things I think that's happened now is we've got older, and the other lads I've played with have got older, and we've shared all the silly stories, and there's a sort of recognition that we really loved what we did. And I love having a laugh with the people that I got to do it with. But actually you try and be more honest now with the truth. And actually it's quite hard to be honest and remember the detail, because you've told so many stories, you've heard so many different versions of it, actually. But mate, I was gutted. I was actually mortified after that. As entertaining as it was for others, So basically I became the first Englishman in roughly 100 years to be sent off at Twickenham. The first.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. Also, I couldn't believe at the time that I got sent off, because, rugby was in a different place in 2005. But that year they literally just started clamping down on sort of the violence. The violence is in the collisions now, isn't it? And the physicality. But obviously back then the violence was in the skullduggery.
Yeah.
And I just stuck up for my mate. Quait's got taken out in the air, landed on his head. Alex ran over. Alex was a teammate from Leicester, so it was a bit awkward. But it's one of those where you lose. It wasn't the first time, but it was the only time I properly lost my head in a game of rugby. And I think I threw roughly 30 punches. I don't know if any of them landed, because I looked at Alex afterwards. If you look at him, there's not a scratch on him. He looks perfect. I don't regret it. But from a professional point of view, and being a better teammate, I disadvantaged my team by doing what I did. So I do look back on it with frustration professionally, because, I should have known better at that stage, been on Lions tours, been to World Cups and all that sort of stuff. But sometimes you have, I don't know how you are or what triggers you, but one of the things that triggers me is around fairness, or protection as well. Like if it's your mates and you feel like someone's Judiced them, or they've been unfairly or harshly treated, then you sort of want to step in and protect. And that's all I actually generally wanted to do, was step in and, stop either of them scrapping, because I knew Quates, and he's a fighter, and Alex is just massive. He's not even necessarily a fighter. He's just massive. So if he chooses to fight, Quates is going to get him.
Pumped.
Absolutely. And there's a great clip afterwards. If you do put it into Google, the fight kicks off. It's like a 30-man brawl essentially, and it all breaks up in this melee. I was probably the heaviest I'd ever been at that point, so I was massive. I looked very different to how I look now. But Alex, who's enormous, like 19 stone, is just these shoulders walking off with a number 11. And then you see Quates, edge into the photo, edge into the screen at the bottom. And he starts following him like he's going to confront him. And then Alex does a slight turn, and Quates obviously sees sense and just panics and goes, fuck it, and walks off in the other direction. But no, mate, do you know what? I love those two guys. They're quality to play with. They're both absolute competitors, very different individuals. But that definitely brought out, that trigger, that sort of protective nature. Yeah. And I went in to separate and to look after and try not, generally try and stop anything happening. And then Alex, popped Quates on the chin, and that was it. Head went. I threw 30 punches, and we both got sent off, and then had to turn up at training at Leicester on Monday and explain to Cockers why we weren't going to be playing for 6 weeks. Yeah, that went down well.
But you are very different to being on the field to off the field. With a surname like Moody, people think, oh, he's mad, he's Moody, he's a madman on the field, which you are, and you were known for that, and people loved you for that. But off the field, you are such a different human being. You still got those qualities of looking after people and respect and love and all that, but off the field, you're the kindest, nicest human being anyone could ever want to meet.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind, thank you. That's the nicest thing you've ever said in the 20 odd years that we've known each other. So I couldn't enter the rugby field as I am, this laid back sort of relaxed,
surfer type.
Yeah, my mantra is kind until you need to be tough, right? Yeah. So when I entered the world of rugby as an 18-year-old, as a professional, for first contract, left school 3 months out of school, played my first game for Leicester. Playing with all my schoolboy heroes, I was terrified, but you can't enter that world with. It was a tough world. You would fight in training. You would fight for everything, every single minute of the day, to prove that you were worthy to be starting at the weekend. It was a competitive environment, as you well know, not just, in the change rooms, in the canteen, on the strength and conditioning field, on the pitch. It's just everywhere. It was a great environment to grow up in, but it taught you to behave in a certain way. But you can't turn up and, as the relaxed individual and expect to succeed. You have to bring a different version of yourself. And I think rugby sport maybe allows you to bring that out in a more extreme way, so I could plug into a side of my personality. I was quite excitable. Yeah, you might listen to me now and think that I'm quite relaxed and, I don't know, tempered, toned down. But we all have that sort of inner warrior, that inner beast, and it's just, I was afforded the opportunity through sport to release it and amplify it, because when I amplified it, it was beneficial to the team, so that sort of overly competitive, highly driven, hugely energetic, supportive, combative teammate could be as angry, excited, committed as I wanted to be. And that was fucking brilliant. But equally, you can't be that human being in real life, So I think with all sports, when I watch lots of different ones, or in business as well, I mean, about this. I'm not a businessman, I've operated around business people. But you can't be the same individual that you are as a CEO in the office, handling challenges. I don't believe that you can be at home with the kids, chilling out, or with the missus. I think there's always an element, and sport sport brings out the more extreme version of it, I think. But there's always an element of you that is wearing a mask. Sounds like the wrong way of putting it, because I don't think it was a mask for me. For me, it was just it was amplifying certain parts of my personality and really focusing on them. You know, everyone talks about neurodiversity, and in our O3 squad or in any of the squads I played in, there was so much neurodiversity. But that was our superpower,
Yeah.
right? And you just plugged into the bit of it.
Yeah.
And when neurodiversity wasn't a word, you didn't even realize you were doing it.
Yeah.
You were just plugging into a bit of it and amplifying it. And yeah.
I want to know, like, you're such a team player, but when you were a young kid, 18, and you were there for what, 14 years, 16 years, 14 years at Leicester Tigers, before you went to Bath, how selfish did you have to be for that number 7 shirt or 6 shirt, whatever you're wearing at Leicester? Like, you're going in, training, lifting heavy weights, smashing people for fun, going through everything. You needed that shirt every week.
Yeah.
How selfish did you personally have to be to make sure that you had that on your back each week?
I don't think I was to start. I don't think I sort of appreciated how hard it was going to be. You know, I came from public school. You know, as most of the Leicester lads that I joined with were working class sort of grammar school or state school lads.
Hard as nails.
Yeah, hard as fuck.
I used to hate those training sessions, right? Just full contact.
You know, that's why you didn't make it, 'cause I used to fucking love them. I used to love
them. I used to hate them.
Yeah.
What day was it? It was like a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday. Whenever defence was, so which could have been a Tuesday or Wednesday, normally Wednesday.
And they brought like the academy and twos against that, and it was just full on legalised violence for like hours. I was like, mate, this ain't fun.
It was fucking brilliant. I still miss those sessions now, right? Like when it progressed, or when you first come in and you start, you know, you are maybe shocked or surprised by it because, you know, you're schoolboy or you're university.
We're young.
It's not like that, is it? You know, and I think when you're thrown into it, it's one of those moments in your life where you realise you're either going to sink or swim. And I suppose for me, I loved it. I love the physical beast that rugby is, and I love the fact that you got to, you know, properly, you know, in what walk of life other than, you know, maybe rugby and boxing, think of, you know, NFL, something like that.
Bare knuckle.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I'm doing here. Would you get to properly physically, you know, test yourself against another human being one-on-one multiple times and multiple different human beings? Mate, for me, that was the buzz. I loved it because everything was a competition. Is how do I better him in this little battle here? How do I then get, you know, on top of him in that one there? And I loved it. And training was the breeding ground for the energy and the, you know, and the success we had at the weekend. Because ultimately, when we did it enough, we were playing against. We had such quality players anyway, but the second team or whoever wasn't starting at the weekend would, you know,
fight for their place.
Yeah. So those Wednesday sessions was, you know, it was awful if you were starting because you knew the guys that they wanted to kill you. You know, cause they would push you as hard as they physically could do to make sure that you were prepped and ready for the game of the weekend, and that would normally end in a fight. And to be honest, by the end of, you know, the heyday was sort of 98 to 2002, I suppose, where we had 4 years unbeaten at home.
Was it 4 years?
4 years unbeaten at home, yeah. 4 years.
Wow.
And we lost to Northampton in 2000. So we went 98 to 2000. And I think it was 2003 by the time we lost, but it was just, I don't know the exact date, but it was 4 years and something. We had 4 back-to-back titles. We did 2 European back-to-back titles in that time. We had an LV Cup. We'd obviously won. We would go on to win the World Cup the following year. We had a Grand Slam during that time with England. So as a young man, you talk about what it was like, you know, it was scary to go into that, but to recognise that you enjoyed it, it wasn't you couldn't, it's not like now. And I see the squad and I see the young people coming in and it's exciting and I love it, but they seem very confident.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there are plenty of lads in there that would be quiet, maybe more reflective and considered when they decide to stick their head above the parapet and ask a question, and then, you know.
Okay.
Because those times were, for me, I was a shy kid, so I would not.
A shy
kid, I wouldn't stick my head above the parapet. I was shy until I was comfortable in the environment, and then I could be myself. Otherwise, I would sort of keep all my energy and thinking repressed until I was comfortable.
When did you know, as an 18-year-old kid, straight out of private school, Oakham, when did you know that you were...
Good plug for Oakham, by the way.
Yeah, good plug for Oakham. Great school.
Bloody great kids.
Great school. I was on the phone to Dosser, gave me a bell the other day.
He's a good man.
I love Dosser.
Yeah.
He's got your back.
Yeah, he does, mate. He's a lovely man. He always drops me a message. You know, that's the lovely thing about relationships, isn't it? In some way, you connect with some teacher at school. And for me, it was Dosser, so he was a sports master, also a maths teacher. I know you probably had a similar experience at university.
He was our coach at Loughborough.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, so for me at school, as a young lad that hated, the academic process, I was just not built for it. Here you go. We're going to tell you a load of stuff. You remember it, and then you just repeat it. I can't. But anyway, and I struggled. There were certain parts of school that I struggled with. A lot of it that I loved, but as a shy kid, certain parts of it were tricky. But Dosser came in and he just really focused on the things that I enjoyed in the game, and that was about the people and the relationship.
And he's an ex-back row Leicester Tigers player.
Yeah,
just ticks all the boxes.
Yeah. But he's so passionate, isn't he? I remember the first game I ever played for Leicester, so it was weeks after I left school, and all of a sudden you're playing Rory Andrew, Dean Richards, all these gods that I'd grown up watching, Martin Johnson, Neil Back. And I was absolutely shitting myself in the change room. And Dean pulled this like forwards huddle in, Dean Richards, and he was going around just checking in on people. And he was like, right, let's just go through the back row calls. Lewis, will you just go through the back row calls? I was like, I actually don't think I uttered a word. I just went, and then he quickly realised that I have fucking no idea what the back row calls were. I'd only been there a month.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that was a realisation. I just thought I could turn up and use my talent to deliver. And thankfully on the day I played well and made up for the fact that I didn't know any of the fucking calls. But I can't remember what I was going on.
When did you know, like when you were at Leicester, like when did you know that people were around you going, this kid, he's mad. He's mad. He's smashing everyone. He's tackling everything. He's like a dog with a slipper. Let him go. When did it sort of trigger you to go, do you know what? I'm actually better than I thought I was here.
I don't know. I think as a rugby player, I've always had massive inner belief in myself. Like I think I've always believed I was capable of doing it. There are times during your journey where you form dips and what have you, but 14 was probably the first age that I thought, do you know what? I really want to do this properly.
What, say it again, when?
So 14. Dad took me to watch. I went to the first game I ever saw at Twickenham. I watched England v Wales. We annihilated them. Paul Thorburn, who was a great, kicker. He kicked some wonderful kicks, but he retired after that because Wales was so diabolical. And I remember after that game, Dad asking me, if I enjoyed it and did I want to come back. And I said, I absolutely loved it. And I do want to come back, but I'm not going to come back until I'm playing. I can remember it clear as day in my head. And then, what drive that put in me to go back and, try and improve fitness and try and increase standards. But it was at 14 that I recognised that it was what I wanted to do and that I felt I was good enough.
Is that because you were bigger, stronger, faster? Because you were quick, like you got long limbs. There must have been something that, I want to know the bit of the Leicester when you really knew that you had something special. Can you remember that?
Well, that I knew.
That you knew personally. You were like, you stepped up from school rugby, which is a good standard where kids are quick and whatever. All of a sudden you're going into Richard Cockrell, Garforth, Martin Johnson, Neil Back. The list goes on of tough men that you've actually could handle your own. Because you weren't a big lump of a man at that age.
I was like 14 stone.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. The first game I played, I was 14 stone. Like a fucking stick in.
And then when you got sent off against Samoa, you must have gone up to like 16 and a half stone.
That was the heaviest I'd ever been. Yeah, that was 17 and a bit probably.
Was it 17 and a bit?
It was just too heavy for me because I couldn't and speed,
move as quick.
Speed was my thing. I wasn't particularly like evasive. Say like a lot of the back row boys now. You look at Ben Earl, fucking he bouncing around, and Henry Pollock. I wasn't like that, but I was quick, really fit. And hard working, and then so for me, actually keeping weight on was really difficult.
How did you get to that weight?
Just
give me an example. Trained lifting, but you've got to be eating some serious calories. What 4,000-5,000 plus?
You're a professional, aren't you, mate? I couldn't tell you. I mean, I know we went to 5 meals a day at one stage. They were like, we want you to come back as big as possible, as strong as possible, as quick as possible. I was like, I'm all over that. That'd be great. That'd be great. And 5 meals a day, I was like, yeah, happy days. But actually, when you got to eat 5 meals a day, you've got to be really meticulous with your planning, which is not me. I am not fucking meticulously planned, as you well know. But I enjoyed the process of bulking up and looking bigger and getting into all that sort of jazz. But I preferred being a lighter weight.
Yeah.
I preferred getting around more. I could be more of a nuisance. Look, the only thing, as we were talking rugby, my real skill was that I was a fucking irritation and a nuisance to the opposition. I was skillful, but I wasn't skillful as a lot of the lads that played far fewer games than me. I just wanted to play more than them, and I was prepared to do more to achieve it. There were plenty that were, gazillion times more talented. They really were. And you said, when did I know? Honestly, I don't think I ever knew. There wasn't like a moment in time where you go, yeah, I deserve to be here.
Okay.
When I turned up at Leicester, I immediately knew I was good enough. It didn't mean that would continue.
Yeah.
But just the way that the environment that you put into, it's like, well, you either just crack on with it or you don't.
Yeah.
And that was easy for me. Like, I'm a doer. I'm happy to follow for those first few years. Right, point me in the right direction. Moodos, chase that ball. I'm after it. Go tackle those fuckers over there. Got it. Just simple instructions.
Follow me, lads.
Like Wellesley. So John Wells was.
He was hard as nails when he Wellesley.
He was hard, and he never got capped by England. He should have done, but he was relentless. He was a type of bloke when rucking existed, which was when you could move people off the ball with your feet.
Yeah.
He'd just lie on the ball all day, and he'd be shredded to pieces, and he'd be happy as Larry. He'd done his job, sorted the team out. But he used to come up to me before every game for a good period of time and just give me one thing to focus on. And that was gold. Everyone's different, but for me, like, really simple, clear focus going into a game was all I needed, because you've done all the preparation around everything else. So if you've got one clear focus, you're just focusing on one thing. The other stuff will sort of
come together.
Yeah, unconsciously take care of itself. So you're not trying to worry about doing different things and line out calls. And it's just one thing. What is it? Do that really well, and the rest will take care of itself. And he was really good at doing that.
What was that one thing?
It would change from week to week, So let's say it would be specific to the opposition that we were playing against, or it'd be specific to something I was working on in the game, like speed to jackal, so get over the ball and try and nick it for your team. Height of your tackle.
Height of your tackle.
Yeah, so like you're doing a chop tackle where you're going low and you're stopping them in their tracks, or you're going high and you're trying to make a dominant collision and put your team on the front foot. More involvements, more ball involvement, so linking with the back. So, I mean, the list was endless, and it would change, or it would come back to the same thing. But having someone that was prepared or knew you enough to go, that's what you need. And then at a certain point you go, shit, actually, you didn't do that this week. I need you to tell me. So, I mean, you coming back to all your things, there wasn't, you don't suddenly go, yeah, I'm ready for this.
But your confidence must be growing as you're going, because I saw your confidence grow over the years.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Whose shirt were you trying to take? How many shirts were there you were trying to take every week? You know what? I've got to take him out the water in training. I'm going to do whatever I can. Who was it? Guzzy,
mate,
Becky,
everyone. There was so many back rowers. Like England are inundated.
Name some back rowers at Leicester at the time.
Adam Balding, Paul Gustard. When I first showed up, John Wells, Neil Back, Dean Richards, a guy called Oscar Wingham, Martin Corrie came in. This is really fucking testing my memory. And then over the years, so Adam Balding, Peter Short, Will Johnson, Paul Gustard, we mentioned him.
Yeah.
Will Skinner, really talented. Tom Croft.
He was a good player, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then guys from abroad, Josh Kronfeld, Shane Jennings, Ben Woods, who was a younger English player. It was relentless. Like, it was never. I always think teams that are successful
due to competition.
Yeah, competition for places, everything. As much as you hate it, like, I would love to have had a career where, you were guaranteed to start week in, week out. But I don't remember. Well, people may have thought that was the case, but I don't remember ever feeling that I was going to start guaranteed week in, week out.
Yeah. What a great attitude to have, knowing that every week you're fighting for that shirt, whether you are the best player or not. You know that people are coming after you. Have you ever been dropped? Yeah. And what was that feeling like?
That's fucking horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, we had with England, it was, whenever you got dropped, the intent was that you would then go and, congratulate the person that took your place. Fucking that was hard. It came easier to some than others. And in all fairness, like, the first time I experienced that, was the first time. So you talked about what shirt did I want? Neil Back shirt. I saw myself as a 7, although I was probably more of a 6, really. I always thought I would get picked ahead of Backy for England before Leicester, just because of, all the the old heads, the familiarity. Back he'd been there so long, and he was awesome. He was awesome. But I was a different version of him, I suppose. And when I did get picked, I got that first call in 2002. So the autumn of 2002, I got picked ahead of him. So it was me, Hilly, and Lawrence starting against the All Blacks in that autumn campaign, and that was terrifying.
Yeah.
But he was the first person. He actually came up and told me before I even knew that the team had been selected and that I was playing. And for Backy, who is the ultimate competitor, I mean, really like the ultimate competitor, would do anything legal within his means to make sure he was starting. Even, I mean, you can laugh about this, but this sort of sums Backy up for me. You come into a meeting, you're never late because, no one wants to be the person that walks in through the door late and gets a barrage of abuse. And so everyone's always there a good few minutes before, or you're queuing outside. Backy turned up late to this meeting, and he was a senior player at that time, late 30s, maybe mid to late 30s. And the coach was just like, "You're late. Why are you late?" He's like, "I'm not late." He was like, "You are late." He was like, "No, I'm not. Prove it." And then just walked off and sat down. That was his competitive nature meant that he just had a reluctance to accept anything, or especially when he was put under pressure. But so for him, for someone that I knew was so highly driven that I don't believe ever got dropped in his career until that point.
Okay,
that was big for him to come and say that to me. So, being so when did I get dropped? Got dropped by Leicester on numerous occasions going into big games. I found it hard because I was a competitor. I like to think though, I always brought the best of myself to training, no matter how, pissed off I was about not playing or whatever. That I hope I didn't let that be visible on the training ground, because no one needs that. No one needs energy sappers on a training pitch. So no matter how pissed off you are, you turn up, you front up, and you do the job for the team. And because when it's shoes on the other foot, they'll do the same.
On that point there, you mentioned that the back row there was you, Delalio, and Richard Hill against New Zealand at Twickenham.
Yeah.
Just tell me what that feeling is like the night before you'll be able to play the All Blacks at Twickenham, and also the feeling. I want to know what goes through your mind when you wake up in the morning, the night before your routine. What do you do? What do you do in the morning? What's it like leading up to it? When do the nerves kick in? Just about before kickoff, you're thinking, I'm pumped for this. Are you thinking, don't do anything stupid, don't get sent off, just hunt the ball? I want to know the emotion of everything.
You're asking me to go back a very long time. But, I suppose I was always really nervous pre-games, especially when you first started. I mean, everything you've gone through, the fear of fucking up, basically.
Is that the biggest fear, is it?
I think so.
Yeah.
For me, because especially when they're people that you admire, respect, and are good at their job, and you come into a team, which I did in sort of 01 with England, when we were really on the rise. So they'd had back-to-back Grand Slam opportunities, which they'd lost. I played in one of them. My first game for England, outside of America, was in the Six Nations against Ireland, which was that rescheduled foot and mouth game, which we should have won, but we lost. And from that moment on, the team I entered, we never really lost. So the mind plays tricks on you the whole time, doesn't it? It's there to try and derail you, and but equally, once you're aware of that, you can find ways of dealing with it, which I did. And like anything, once you crossed that white line onto the pitch, it was easy. You're in your comfort zone. Everything outside of that, in the hotel, we were chatting to some of the lads the other day when we were just talking about the drive from wherever you were into the training ground. Going through the gates of Pennyhill was always the most anxiety-inducing experience ever, and it still was when I went back last week, and I was just going for fun. Yeah, I was like, God, this feels...
But I remember back in the day, I'd go, mate, you're like smashing everyone in training, you're playing for England. I remember you got to a point where I was like, are you getting excited to go to England camp? And there was times you were saying, I'm not getting excited to go down to Pennyhill now. Why was that?
I think because it was uncomfortable. And when you're in it, I don't think you appreciate you know, it's difficult because we look back at things with rose-tinted glasses, don't we? So, you know, retrospectively, I can look back and really appreciate the reason that I enjoyed my career was that, you know, I was in an environment that meant you felt uncomfortable, and I felt uncomfortable because you were constantly under scrutiny. You had to deliver, or you know, you'd likely not be playing. So there was always this pressure to perform and consistently. And then you add to that the expectations around the standards, you know, making sure you're in the right kit, you know, you're not late for meetings. You know, you've got all the knowledge and the information you need, you know, in case you're questioned during, you know, you used to have these massive manuals that you'd have to read. I was like, okay, no, I gotta get this out. I can't remember anything. Just remember, so me and Julian White and Danny Grucock used to have like sort of, you know, recap meetings where you go away, we get a load of chairs and we do the line out drills. Because you got like in a line out as one individual, you've got probably, I don't know, let's say 20 different calls to know. And then if you're on the bench covering 3 different positions, you've then got 60 different calls to know. And you could come in on any one of those positions at any one time, and you need to know them like off the drop of a hat under pressure in front of 8,000 people when you can barely hear the fucking call. So, yeah, all of that stuff just drove anxiety levels. Okay. And it's hard enough to remember your club calls. And back then you were sort of bouncing between club and England week to week. You know, now they get them for, you know, for extended periods. But I talk about, you know, you talk about not enjoying going down. When I look back now, there were definitely times that the anxiety, the pressure, the stress was consuming and uncomfortable. And when you're at your club, you felt more comfortable because you're around your mates, and maybe there was less pressure because you know, you were more settled. When you come to England, whatever camp you went to, you had to perform to be starting. There was no other way around it. And it was uncomfortable, but it was also exciting. You know, you recognise that, you know, with great success comes, you know, huge disappointment, failure, and failure and success are just totally entwined in sport. You know, from week to week, from session to session, and it becomes the norm, and you normalise pressure. And sometimes, you know, let's say, I don't know, if you have, I had a lot of injuries, what I'd have 14 injuries, 14 operations, I had lots more injuries, but 14 major operations during that time, you know, dealt with ulcerative colitis, which is bowel disease whilst playing, you know, and had to steroids and all sorts of things, you know, basically change your clothes to get anywhere in case you shit yourself. You know, you deal with a lot as a sports person or as anyone in a life, but apply it under the pressure of the microscope that sport brings. You know, sometimes that could get a little bit too much, which is maybe what I was referring to at that time. But when I look back now, retrospectively, I massively appreciate like the discomfort and how the discomfort benefited me, because I never played my best when I was relaxed and sure of my place. I played my best when I was under pressure.
Back to the wall.
Yeah.
Same.
And it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's getting to that point where you need to be happy being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And if you're happy being uncomfortable, that's a powerful place to be.
And when you're doing something you love, like sport, or you're doing business, or you're building a brand, it's easy because it's what you love. So therefore you normalise the pressure. So it's like, okay, I'm used to this.
This is the norm.
Yeah. But try something new. All of a sudden that pressure feels uncomfortable because it's not the thing that comes naturally to you. I don't know, let's say public speaking or, you know, doing a presentation or, I don't know.
I know what you mean,
Yeah. So all of a sudden that's where...
But people say to me, God, you're under so much pressure with Bournemouth Sevens festivals. Like, it's just a norm to me. Yeah. It's been in 19 years. I know there's financial pressures everywhere because so many moving parts. Yeah. But it's the norm to me. I get a buzz from that. Anyone looking in going, how much... Like that's crazy. You're risking all that money up front, hoping that people are going to turn up for those 3 days a year. Yeah, you know. But
the buzz that comes off the back of it is driven by that pressure. Isn't it? You know, and you know, because you know how hard you have to work to achieve that. And so I think sometimes, you know, when we get it wrong, is we reflect on, like, let's say for a minute you stopped and looked at, you know, Bournemouth Sevens year 1, year 2, year 3, and just looked at the end result when, you know, it'd been a great event, best party of the year. Yeah. You don't shed load of cash, so you were happy. You know, Fleur was happy. Yeah. You know, if you just reflect on the end result, it's really easy to lose track and drop your standards and all those
Yeah.
types of things, because you forget how much effort and energy goes into actually putting it on right.
Yeah.
And for me, when people ask about what did you enjoy, the thing I enjoyed more than anything, yes, I loved playing, but the training is what I miss. Like, because you had to test yourself. It was so hard. You knew if you got through training and you were playing at the weekend, you deserved to be playing. You're going to be one of the best players out there in the world, if not in your club.
I just remember saying as you're talking then.
This is not going to be good.
I remember you retired in 2011 after captaining England to a World Cup in New Zealand. And 2012, we had a big party around our house, Olympics party.
Yeah, 2011. I mean, you had to bring that up. That was
2011.
Enjoyment. Yeah, 2011 World Cup.
Amazing
Disappointment for me,
mate. But you're captaining your country.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? How you remember it and how I remember it. Go on. So you're going
to? No. Carry on. You were captain. Lou, you are our hero as our friend. Like, you were captain in your country after 71 caps, 7 European titles. Sorry, 7 Premiership titles, 2 European titles, like World Cup times 2, 1 winner World Cup, and all of a sudden you're now going to captain your country in New Zealand for England. Like, we were like, you've hit the pinnacle. This is unbelievable. But your take on it is different.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it is very different because, outcomes in sport are based on results, right? And being asked to do it, yes, that's one thing, and that's something I'll always be proud of, is that I feel, or someone felt, that I was worthy of being captain of my country.
Which was Jono?
Martin Johnson, who I played with for a long time, and I'm sure he doubted whether I was, he was second guessing himself, I'm sure, up until the last minute as to whether I should be that person. For all the reasons you've outlined, is that I was an energetic bundle of enthusiasm that wanted to cause destruction to the opposition. I wasn't, a considered, detail-orientated leader. But he obviously weighed up enough that the sort of, I don't know, inspiration or whatever that I provided from the way that I played was going to be enough. And I was proud. And, the first occasion that I captained England was against France away. We narrowly lost. We played really well. But we lost. I then had to do the post-match team talk, and I doubted massively whether I was the right person to captain that team anyway.
What, as you were doing the team talk to the players after the game or to the press?
No, prior to the game.
Okay.
So prior to actually saying, I'd love to be England captain, I doubted, did I want to bring my family under the scrutiny, the microscope of the English media, which, is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Or just, under the microscope being England captain and the pressures that come going into a World Cup, especially in New Zealand. Was I going to be good enough? Would I make the right decisions? All those types of things go through your mind. And I eventually, Jono came round to the house and the kids were playing on the trampoline. I actually ignored his call first up when he rang.
Did you think it could be when he was calling? Or you?
I knew. He told me. So Steve Borthwick, the current England coach, was my captain prior to that. Yeah. Steve got injured on the Wednesday. On the Tuesday, and Jono told me, look, we'll do a fitness test for him on Thursday, I think it was. So, which was our day off. And in that case, if he's not fit, we would like you to be captain. I was like, fuck, okay. That's just fuck. Okay. I honestly didn't know what to say. And obviously, I was, so when I went my first England tour when I was 19, got captain when I was 21, played in the World Cup at 24.
Yeah.
And, so I'd been in and around England for a long time, and you grow into roles, and I was a sort of defence captain and various other things, but I'd not even captained Leicester, really. Yeah, okay. One game.
Yeah,
Leicester for. So to be thrown into that role was a big ask. But anyway, so come back to my point is, that I knew that was going to happen. I knew Jono calling would be, Borthers is fit or is not, so you're captain or you're not. And I ignored it. And we're on the trampoline at home in the garden, and the kids were, just messing around. And then I saw Jono's daughter come walking up the garden. I was like, oh, fuck. I really wish I'd picked up the phone. And, so, because he called, I ghosted him. And then, so he arrived at the house. This massive, sort of giant shadow comes walking up the garden. We're just watching the kids on the trampoline, and he literally, this was the conversation. He was literally like, do you want to be captain? yeah. And that was it. There was no more, you know, the small talk doesn't really happen. So it was just, that was the moment. And really, even until he asked me, I didn't know whether I was going to say yes. I was enormously proud to be asked, and I didn't know. So get around to why I have a different view to you is, you know, you base your successes, you base your, I don't know, maybe it's successes on results in sport. And ultimately we had an abject failure across the board in New Zealand 2011. We did have success as a team. So we won the Six Nations. Prior to 2011, we beat Australia for only the third time in our history. But the World Cup for me was, you know, having been in it with Jono, having been in 2007 with Vix when we got to a final, and Phil was the captain. They're all really different experiences. And 2011, where I was the older boy, I'm sure people were questioning whether I was still capable. I had a massive injury prior to it, so I'd missed quite a few games. Missed the first game on tour.
So your captain missed the first game?
Yeah. So I missed the last couple of warm-up games. So I'd had a big injury, knee injury.
What was your injury in New Zealand? What were you taking with you?
Knee injury. So I got injured during the season, which meant I missed. Did I miss all the Six Nations? So I missed a large part of it anyway. So got fit for the end of the season. Played a couple of games for Leicester at the end of the season, and then played the first warm-up game against Wales, where I did my knee again. So bearing in mind we're weeks out now from going to the World Cup. The physios decided that they thought it wasn't that bad and I'd be able to come back from it. But I was hoping to play in that first game, but it wasn't quite right. So in the second game, I was warming up. So I was starting, I think it was against Namibia or someone like that. and in the warm-up, I felt it again. I was like, fuck. And I was just like, nah, I can't, not ending like this. Because my intent was to retire from England after the World Cup. And I got up and actually I managed to get through the whole tournament. It wasn't fine, but my memory of that tournament is just is disappointment because, you know, there were things that you learn. You know, I came to captaincy at 31, 32, and you were learning, and I retired at 33. So I had so much information that I gathered over those last 2 years that is something I wish I'd done much earlier. But all the stuff that came with it, you know, the fallout from that World Cup, you know, the challenges that we had with behaviours and certain characters, you know, your own.
Was that the door throw-in and all that?
Yeah. That was, yeah. I mean, you can laugh at it. No, you can laugh at it. I still don't laugh about it.
Mate, that was properly funny when that came out, though. That was like the equivalent of Gaza and that lot on the, you know, the dentist chair style.
Yeah.
Where were you that night?
So I was in the same bar with the same lads, but we were watching. So it was just a student bar.
Yeah.
And they had a load of games on. So we're like, should we go watch some of the games? Yeah. So we went out, had a couple of beers. So how it always worked was, you know, World Cup camps, you build up, you work for months on end.
Yeah.
You're ruthless with your nutrition and your food and all that and your training. And then at some point you are given a date where you know you're going to be able to let your hair down. So in 2003, we knew that game was going to be against Uruguay. So after the Uruguay game, we knew we could let our hair down fully, and we did. I remember nearly missing a meeting because we went out and got so twatted. Tomo knocking on my door. He came in bearing in mind we're in Australia on the Gold Coast. He comes in a beanie and a hoodie. I'm like, mate, what are you doing? I was still asleep, on the bed. You know, if he hadn't come in, I would have missed the meeting, and that probably would have changed the course of things for me. But so you build up to this window where you get all excited, you're working relentless, and then you're given this window to let your hair down. And some people, if you're as excitable as me, go hard. And Tomo's equal to me, and he came in with this beanie on. I was like, "Why are you wearing a beanie?" He was like, "Well, because you pushed me into a fucking door last night," and he split his eye up. And I was like, "Oh no, mate, I'm so sorry." So we had to go to the meeting and then fabricate in the touch session after that a collision that would allow Pasky, who was the physio, to stitch Tomo's head up in the session. But fast forward to 2011, so 2 more World Cups later, we had that same build up. We had hard training, knowing we're going to be under the scrutiny of the media in New Zealand. We told it was going to be the first time that, press are going to be coming actively looking for stories. So we were told that, we knew it. We still had that day after I think it was after the first game. I think it was after Argentina game. We had the day in Queenstown or weekend in Queenstown where we could just go and relax.
Great party place as well.
Great,
Queenstown.
amazing, great. It's beautiful.
Amazing, yeah.
Beautiful. A few of us went bungee jumping and did everyone just sort of did different things, and we had a night out. And so we went to a restaurant, and then everyone sort of split off after that. Some of us went and watched the games. We ended up in that bar, and the game finished. And I can't remember, why or how the others stayed, because I do remember leaving with a few of the lads. But obviously, some of the fellas who'd let their hair down, and that was always, the place that and the time that we were going to do it, just got themselves caught in a mess. And the shitstorm that came off the back of that,
massive, wasn't it?
For myself, Jono in particular, for the QC who was looking after it, and it just created our own challenges on that tour. We were never good enough to win that World Cup.
Yeah.
That was fine. We weren't, but we had a great, talented pool of players that went on to get hundreds of caps. Courtney Laws, Dylan Hartley, yeah, awesome player, machine, beast. But for whatever reason at that time, we just couldn't get it right. No matter how many times we talked about it, doing the right things, behaviours, and
was there other stuff? Was there time as a captain you're going, these are all my pals? Okay, there's a lot of younger kids coming through, but he's my pal. When you're sensing something happening where it could go OTT or someone blows it out of proportion, did you ever have that point where you're going, I need to have a word with the lads, say, lads, calm down, we got to get out of it? Or did you go, do you know what, crack on? What was going through your mind? Like,
those conversations would have happened and did happen. With certain
internally, or you speaking to them?
Both.
Okay.
And all. You have group conversations, so you know that you're going to be under scrutiny, who's coming looking for stories, what's acceptable as behaviours, what's not. I think the exhausting thing, what I learned was one of the exhausting things as a leader is you have to be on it all the time, and that's tiring and frustrating as well, because you think sometimes if you share things, and it's not like this is my doctrine, this is what we've agreed as a group and as coaches and what the coaches want, and it's exhausting if you're constantly on it. The same people or you're picking on the same thing. But you have to. You absolutely have to. And I think what I learned more than anything in that tournament was that you have to be probably more ruthless. I think because we were winning, it papered over the cracks a little bit, and that certain behaviours and characters were tolerated more. And actually, probably in the past, you would have gone, you give them the opportunity. Obviously, you don't just. Someone doesn't just get cut after one mistake. Yeah. You give people the opportunity to be better always. That's that whole feedback. Like, just, you've done this. Here's an opportunity to be better. And I'm grateful for that. But, so I suppose what was I trying to say is that for me, it was exhausting.
I'm sure.
It was exhausting.
I'm sure. But were you the same Lewis Moody going into that World Cup? Or did you, as a captain, you go, I've got to be different, or I've got to give them a bit of distance, and I've got to show a bit more authority and a bit more adult? Or were you just the same?
Yeah. Oh, good question. I was probably a bit of both. I think I wanted to try and be me. Johnny gave us some good advice. He was like, just be you, mate. That's why I'm picking you.
Yeah.
Just be you. So I tried to do that, but there's always the bit of you that's like, I've got to talk more in this huddle.
Okay.
I've got to be more passionate. I've got to sound more intelligent. I've got to know more stuff. The thing, so being more ruthless would be about if there is something that you feel is wrong and the opportunity has been taken to try and improve and it doesn't change, then making sure that they are moved out of the equation. I think, whether it's certainly from a personnel point of view, and in sport you can do that quite easily. Obviously, in business that's much harder. Yeah. But you get that, that one trait or individual or something like that, can just disrupt so many things, and it takes
just one personality.
Yeah, and I think in hindsight, I think that we were trying to get to harmony, and actually what we needed to do was, be more ruthless with people. This is what we expect. If you're not prepared to deliver it, then you're not there. And maybe in years gone by, that's what we would have done. And I think if I'd learned going forward, that's a conversation we probably would have had with Jono or someone else, and go, look, But equally around yourself, there were times during that tour where I was like, I don't know if the lads believe I'm good enough to be captain.
That was going through your head, was it?
From a playing point of view.
Did you sense it at all?
Yeah, probably. I probably did. To be thinking that, I probably did.
Yeah, okay.
And there were times when I thought of going and having a conversation with the coach and going, lads, I want to make sure that I'm being picked because you think I'm the best player, not because I'm captain.
Yes.
You think so? Ironically, I actually played really well. So, I was under pressure again, which was great. But yeah, I remember it with mixed memories. I remember it, from a frustrating point of view as a captain because there was a lot of frustrations. There were a lot of things that went wrong, and that's under my watch. And you put your hand up and go, "Look, I clearly wasn't good enough. That's okay. I can take that. I learn from it, and you move on." And the really frustrating thing for me was like, I know I'm going to retire at the end of this World Cup anyway. I want to go back, play club rugby. I've just moved to Bath, the arch enemy of the Tigers, where I played for 15 years. And the fucking the very next game, I had a diving tap tackle trying to. It was one of the Claessens brothers. Totally missed it. Just a tap tackle. Wasn't even a massive hit. Shoulder came out, and I knew that was it. I knew in that game that was it. I still carried on. Tried to make a tackle with my wrong arm, leading with the head across the knee. So I got knocked out about 2 times. And that was the end of my rugby career. Worcester away, tap tackle for Bath, and I had this sort of vision of. Playing for Bath for a couple of years, helping them to some sort of silverware, or at least moving to the top of the table from where they'd been, and none of that happened. I just had to go home and sit with Annie, try and get rehabbed, and then retire. Press the button on retiring. That was a weird one to do.
I bet. Anyway, I remember.
Yeah,
I remember.
Did I chat to you about it? Did I call you before? Or
yeah, before. Before. You weren't in a good place. You're like, what? And I think the biggest thing one of the funny things is that in 2012, that Olympic party we had around our house.
That was quality.
Quality party. You come as Eddie the Eagle.
Yeah, that was.
Do you remember you and Andy? That was a great outfit.
Ginger moustache.
Yeah, wasn't
That's
it?
what I would have if I grew a beard or a moustache. It would be ginger. It'd probably be grey now. In all fairness, wouldn't it?
But I remember then we'd been boozing. There's a load of people there, all partying in the garden, doing fun Olympic games, drinking games, and all that. And I remember then you still had this energy in you. That you're not a fighter, but you had this energy in you and taking everyone on in the garden.
Well, that's because you were doing competitive fucking Olympic style.
Yeah, but we went to MMA on the floor, and you were taking people out, and you were laying in the back, and you're like, hold that, next one.
I remember 2 of the girls having a full-on boxing contest.
Right, they had the gloves on, didn't they?
No, I do remember that. What I remember happening was one of your mates, I can't remember who it was, he thought he'd got on top of me.
That's right.
And that fucking angered the beast. That
pissed you off, didn't it? He thought, because he was a big lump, he thought by being on top of you that he was winning.
Yeah.
But you had all the moves on the ground.
So I choked him out. I tried to choke him out.
He tapped.
He tapped. Yeah. Everyone else is probably looking at me going, oh, God, he's getting dominated there. I think it was Will, wasn't it? Will. And I knew he was suffering because I had him. What would they call it? It was pretty much the only...
chokehold, mate.
The guillotine. It was pretty much the only move I knew from like grappling and wrestling days when you got injured in the at Welford Road, locked the guillotine in, thrust the hips.
I remember everyone was about 8 drinks in, mate, and you must have gone for about 7 or 8 fellas. Yeah. And then
what?
Yeah, that's about right, isn't it?
7 or 8 fellas.
And I remember he just had him in the hole, and he just went white. We're all like, mate, that'll do.
Yeah. Yeah, mate, that was great.
That was good. That was good
but,
fun.
You need to let your hair down, don't you? But you do.
But you still had. What I'm saying is, you still had it in you. You were like, so competitive, wasn't it? It was like, mate, I've been doing this for all my life. I don't know any different. I know we're mucking around and stuff, but it was like,
it's still there. You have it. Everyone fucking has it. Yeah. We all just have it at different levels. Yeah. And it takes different things to bring it out of you, doesn't it? Like for me at that time, it was someone getting the better or thinking they got the better.
Thinking.
Wrestling
that was the thing. It was the thinking they got better than you.
Yeah. But I'm sure. Well, here, what brings out I like to call it the inner warrior, because it's that sort of, spirit that goes, right, I'm going to do anything now. Yeah. I'm capable of anything. What would bring that out in you?
Being the underdog. I love being the underdog. I love being back against the wall. I love a challenge. I love a challenge in business. I love a challenge to see that I can be the best at what I can be. I want to be in the top 1% of the 1% in what I do. And if I can't be that, the same with rugby. I got to a level of rugby. I was like, that'll do. I'm enough now. I'm going to go and do this, events, live events and festivals and everything that we're doing now. But I think that's the one for me.
Do you know what? It's an interesting question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think about physicality and almost like a rage-like state, but actually, what the inner warrior looks like for each of us is very different, and how we apply it, and how we apply that energy and that focus into something. You know, for you, it's the challenge of a new project in business, taking a brand on, or building
from nothing.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. You come up with mad ideas over a couple of beers, and all of a sudden you're building something.
Actually, I bet I know what really fires you up. I bet it's the signing of a deal, or getting to the point where you get that deal across the line. You know, where you're you're in. That's almost a battle, isn't it?
Yeah, that's nice. Getting a deal over the line's nice, but building something, like I put on, obviously, bring people together and put smiles on faces. That's what I've done for 25 years.
Is that another slogan? Have you got that?
No, but I won't put it up there. But it's the truth. Like I've just put on 1,500 club nights for 10 years in my 20s, and then put on 19 years of Bournemouth Sevens Festival, 30,000 people, 400 teams, and now bringing people together via the power of.
Was that your motivation? Like making people feel good?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. As a kid, when you're growing up. Yeah, and the cash.
Not the truck.
Obviously,
cash.
Obviously that bit.
I don't know what to do with all these bags.
But as a kid growing up, living above a pub in London, and you got a nightclub next door, and you're selling tickets to the nightclub next door. Is 10 years old. That's what I know. Putting smiles on people's faces and bringing a community together where people are meeting each other and having a laugh and drinking and partying and dancing, and that's what I've been around all my life, you know. And then dabbled with the rugby thing and got to a level. I was like, well, I'm not going to make it to a top level. Well, put that to one side. Where are we going now? And I'm glad, look back at it. I'm glad I stopped when I stopped.
Okay.
Yeah, because it gave me probably a bigger advantage rather than getting to a point where you're carrying on playing sport, and then you got to start a career, I guess. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it was.
How old were you when you?
23.
Okay, so that's
young.
Yeah,
really young. But then, because the reason why is because when you get to that, when we're doing that thing, you get given a car and you get given free stash, and you're paying £100 a week or £200 a week, whatever it is. And then I found this nightclub world where I was like, oh my God, I can pile in 2,000 students at £3 a head in that one nightclub. Oh my God, these sums sounds better than that money. And then you're doing that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you're scaling that business up all around the country, and having 12 nightclubs every single week around the country at peak. That for me totally stopped everything. I was like, I need to home in on this. And that's what I did in my 20s before going into the festival world, which was that was a big shock as well. Going from indoor events with nightclubs between 1,000 and 3,000 people, we're taking the door money and they're taking the bar money, to then all of a sudden you're in a 67 acres field and you've got to build a mini town to put on a festival mixing sport and music.
And that probably feels right. So the start point of it feels exciting because you've got a new thing, something to build. Yeah. But actually there's a huge amount of discomfort in there. So, what you're describing is what I felt when I went to Penny Hill. Yeah. You were talking about a time where you're under pressure, but actually the joy you realise.
The buzz.
Is that you're under pressure and that you've got to constantly deliver. And you can't live like that always because it's fucking exhausting. Yeah. But you can live like it as long as you enjoy it enough. Yeah. And, the end goal is rewarding enough, I suppose. And actually the end goal doesn't always go the way you would like. For you it has, I presume. Has it always, have you always achieved the goal that you set out with Bournemouth Sevens, with Eventful Lives?
They all seem to be working really well. I look at the festivals, there's not many festivals that are independently owned, still 19 years. Yeah. Most festivals lose money. But because we're a sport and music festival covering rugby, netball, hockey, dodgeball, basketball, fitness games and whatever, mixed in with a festival party atmosphere with 10 festival music arenas, and everyone's boozing and dancing in fancy dress, that was unique.
So if I looked in on your life, I would look at it and go, fucking hell, everything he's done has been successful. If we look at sport, that's my perception. I'll ask you to come. Shit, and you knocked your samurai out of it.
The old samurai. That's protecting it. Before my mum passed, she gave me that because go on.
Well, I'm glad I didn't take the piss out.
So I'm glad you didn't take the piss.
You got the through dark in there as well. But so if we were to look at you, like, I think it's easy from an external point of view to look at something and go, God, it's just a straight journey to the top. And I would look at actually all the things that you've done, and it feels like you've only ever had success. Is there anything you've ever tasted failure with? I
don't have failure in my vocabulary, mate. I don't like the word. It's pessimistic. It's negative. For me in business, you only fail when you stop and you've gone, you know, I've given it a good go for 3 years, 5 years. I've stopped. I can't sell it. I've stopped. I lost a load of money. This is a nightmare. That's a failure if you were going to use that. But I just don't have it in my language. For me, it's about tweaking. And all I do is build a brand, and then you're working it all out. And, you know, I've never read a business book. I've never read, you know, I've not have a mentor who sat there. You just work it out. And I'm relentless, Lou. You know that. And I'm obsessed. And I get obsessed. And probably the same as you in rugby. You were obsessed. I'm obsessed in business to create brilliant brands and strong brands over years that can generate me being able to employ a load of people and them having good lives. And then at the end of it, if there's profit, myself and my wife can take the profit and build our lives around it.
Do you know what I hear from that? And I find it really interesting and useful, actually, is that because in your vocabulary, you talk about not having failure in your vocabulary, and that is, you know, a mindset shift for you. Yeah. So that is about, it's not that you don't have failure, it's just you rearrange your thinking.
It's language.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that didn't go as I wanted. Yeah. Now let's go back to it. Let's tweak and see. And we keep going until you get the result you want. You adapt to whatever, you know. Whereas for me, when I look at sport or how I look at it, it's like success and failure are just intertwined. So the way that I look at it is just different, is that I accept that there will be failure, a little bit like you do, but the way that you use it, the language that you use, make sure that it keeps you in a positive frame of mind, probably allows you to keep the people around you in the business in a positive frame of mind. So there's no just one plan A that we're going to follow meticulously and we're just going to stay on track, because that's insane, right? Yeah. You always have to. You're
constantly learning. I'm a sponge. I love learning. I never used to enjoy learning at school. I was always like earning £1 note at school, or I want to be on the sports field playing football, rugby, cricket, wherever it was. I never understood that I never could learn by someone telling me something, and I've got to remember it to regurgitate on a piece of paper. I just couldn't. It wasn't me. I just couldn't do it. Yeah. But now as an adult, over the last 27, 28, 29 years in business, I love learning.
Mate, same. It's weird.
Love learning.
Like now you get older and more wiser or whatever, and but it's probably because we choose things that we enjoy doing to learn about, rather than just being told about, you know, Pythagoras' theorem and
Bunsen burners and shit you don't need. Latin.
I was great with Bunsen burners.
Yeah,
like,
I was good with the old spray with a Bunsen burner. When it's not looking.
Yeah, can set fire to anything. God, I'm glad I wasn't at a class with you. It's an absolute nightmare.
We would have been a nightmare together.
I just love the different mental approach to those.
Yeah.
And just what it makes me think is that actually, you know, there's no one way of doing all of this. No. There's the way that works for you. Yeah. And because I've heard someone say that before, was it Rosie? It might be someone you'd spoken to on the podcast, who talked about, you know, I don't believe in failure. It's just, you know, failure is when I stop. So it's just, and you've then tweaked again. It's actually failure is just adapting. It's constantly changing the plan.
So your word is your wand. Yeah. If you've got the right language in your mind,
that is your wand.
Yeah,
you've been watching Harry Potter.
No, I don't watch any films. You know that.
Yeah, that's true. Or documentaries,
or TV,
you know, or anything. Yeah.
But your word is your wand. If you've got the right vocabulary in your mind, you're optimistic and you're curious and you like to take risks, and you're very aware of your subconscious mind, the little man on your shoulder constantly talking to you. If you're aware of these things, you know when that man's talking to you or not. You know, putting stuff into your mind. You know what you don't need that in your mind. It's gonna ruin the state of your mind for that day or for that hour. You know, but curiosity has been the one. I've been curious since a kid, as you know, and I'm curious as an adult, and I'm curious that I now get paid to be on a podcast, to have your own podcast, being curious. Yeah. And throwing parties for people.
But you're absolutely right, and that is one thing you've always done well, and I've really admired about you, because it's not been a skill I've come to easily, is always having questions that, you know, that curiosity is really like, it is genuine in you. You know, when you ask a question, it's genuine because you're trying to understand, you're trying to learn a little bit more. And I think I always saw questions as a shit, I don't know the answer to that. If I ask a question, I'm going to look like a dickhead, so I'm just not going to say anything. But then, of course, you don't learn, right? Yeah. So that's certainly something I've always admired about you. That staying curious is really important, right? And the awareness, what you just talked about around awareness.
Agree.
The more aware you are, especially of self.
Yes. Self-awareness is key.
Yeah, so that you can make the changes. Yeah. That has been the biggest learning I've had outside of playing sport, is a real reflection. Because in sport, you've almost got to be this sort of huge, overconfident,
single-minded.
Yeah, driven. But you're almost in this total bubble that doesn't allow any of the sort of negativity in from the outside.
Yeah.
You're constantly building your inner confidence because you know you're going to go through dips in form. You know you're going to get injured. You know you're going to have all these things you're going to have to deal with. So you're constantly having to rebuild or keep on top of your confidence. And yeah, mate, I find it fascinating. I've completely lost track of what the fuck I'm talking about.
Mine, mate. It's good. Just nice having a chat. Nice having a chat. With you,
Do you find that now?
What's
as
that?
we get older, that words and I don't know. Do you lose track of where you're going more?
Yeah, of course.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. I enjoy
It's like
it.
your eyes go.
Yeah, but I enjoy losing track in the middle of a conversation. You don't know where it's going to go. It's like, what are we talking about? Oh, yeah, let's go there again.
I don't enjoy losing track.
Do you not?
No, because it annoys me. So I'm like, I had a really good point, because what it means is I've distracted myself by going off on something else.
Onto a tangent.
Rather
That's okay.
than sticking to the point that you want to go to.
Everything's okay. It falls into place, you know. But, how are you feeling today, Lou? With everything that's going on in your world with MND, and how are you,
Mate, I'm
emotionally and mentally, and how's your world?
I'm genuinely good, bud. Yeah, I've obviously been asked that question a lot recently, and I think the easiest way of describing it is that I suppose everything is okay. You know, it's not normal. It's definitely not normal, because you've been given a piece of news that changes your future perspective and your ability to plan and organise and all those things. But everything's okay. Like, when you're given the news, the language that's used by the specialists is, "I'm really sorry. This is devastating. This is terrible. This is just awful." And then, why don't you just go away and live your life? Literally, those are the sort of words that are talked about. Just go and enjoy yourself. And so it puts in a very negative headspace straight away. And I'm not a negative person. I've lived a life off of being probably over positive and always trying to find the positive in everything, which means that you often miss a lot of things, but you live an enjoyable life. So I think one of the things that I've learnt to do more than anything, one of the things that probably everything that we've spoken about, sport in general, has taught me, is that I'm fully equipped to handle this, is that I can adapt to this situation. It won't be easy, but I can do it, because as a human we're capable of doing anything that we really put our minds to, as we've sort of alluded to already. But it doesn't mean that emotions aren't always simmering. They are simmering always, like under the surface. I get a number of like, I went to the Legends game, the sort of old boys match that happens before the England-Ireland game.
Yeah.
And I walked out of the changing room, wasn't playing, and just one of the punters came running over, gave him a massive hug, but he was literally uncontrollably crying.
Yeah.
So you don't only process what you're going through, you process what everyone else is going through for you on your behalf. And that is consuming, but it's, you know, I have to recognize that it's all coming from a kind place. You know, people, for whatever reason, feel strongly connected to me. I think I have this ability, and I enjoy it. I enjoy connecting with people. I enjoy relationships. Yeah. You know, my skill set really is around people. Yeah. You know, not anything else. I just connect well, and so if people, well, I certainly don't remember, don't think I know, come up to me like we've been best mates for forever, and will share openly, and will commiserate and consolidate with me and all of that, and I have to try and find the ability to absorb that, or absorb enough of it so that they feel consoled. I don't know if that's the right word, but
listen to them,
appreciated. Yeah, I don't know, that hear it in the right way, and but also not take it all on, because if you take it all on, it's a lot, right? You know, we've had this piece of news dumped in our life on top of the life that we have already, so it's not. So it's just been added to it, you know. It's like that stress container. You just keep adding to it. Eventually it will overflow. So something has to give way. And I suppose the joy of it, if that's an expression that's even possible to use, is that it simplifies life. You know, life, from the moment I found out, and it maybe took a little bit of time, it just simplifies your thinking around things, because I choose to do more of the things that I love and less of the things that I don't.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long I'll get to do that for, which is a difficult thing to say. But that's what I choose to do, those emotions are always close to the surface, right? And it's difficult. It's a difficult time. You all right? You're fucking doing what I just said. And this is the difficult thing, right? It's like I'm trying to process it all. We're trying to work through it, but I know it's going to be okay. I know it's going to be okay. I know it's going to be hard. And I know there's lots of things we haven't even considered at the minute that I will have to consider in the future. But I'm happy to face that. I am happy to face that. And when you look at your family, you're going to be all right. Sure. When you look at your family, you suddenly get an appreciation, almost like a selfishness. I'm like, fucking, thank God it's me. Fuck. If it was one of the kids or Annie, I don't think I could cope with it. And actually it'd be worse, because Annie's like the sort of glue that binds the family.
She's unreal, mate.
Yeah. It's tough, man. What are you feeling?
I think it's just reality. Like, I guess it's life, right? Like, I'm going to lose you one day. I don't want that.
Yeah.
But I guess that could happen tomorrow to any of us. Like, in a car or in a plane, or something happen.
And you wouldn't have the foresight that I've been given. Like, I definitely wouldn't choose for anyone to be given this.
No.
Not in a million years, but you get this beautiful foresight of that you don't know. There's no certainty. In life, there's no certainty.
No.
Taxes when we die, okay, maybe that, but nothing else. And so I suppose what it provides you with is, real simple focus and a reminder that, you are not in control of any of this, but you now have a vision and the ability to make choices that you wouldn't have otherwise been able. You can have the conversations, you can do all the stuff that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to do. And so in some ways it's privilege is the wrong word, but it puts you in a place where you can do all those things, and whereas you get hit by a motorbike tomorrow, people always end up asking questions. But also, mate, I remain eternally hopeful. I'm a fucking optimistic bastard.
Yeah.
And I enter this MND world in a far more hopeful place than Doddy and Eust and Ed and Rob did, because of those incredible blokes, incredible people. It's easy to focus on just those guys because they were
But there's thousands of people out there as well.
And there's loads of people that don't have that platform that we have. So that's why it's important that we use it, I suppose. But I come into it now, and it's probably in a better place than it's ever been. There is stuff happening there, so there is I forget the name of it, but there is a drug now that supports the genetic type of MND. That's only 3% of people that are diagnosed with MND, but it pretty much symptom represses. There's all sorts of things going on around accessing that drug. But so advancements happening all the time. There's breakthroughs, for want of a loose term, where new things are being tested and being proven, but there's a long way to go until they actually, I'm on a trial myself.
What are you doing at the moment? Is there something you've obviously been? I know you've been approached by lots of people.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Like, how many people have approached saying you need to do this, or you take this, or do this, or come to America and fly here and go to India, whatever it is. Everyone's reached out, right?
Which is, and that was fucking stressful.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm like, what if somewhere in this gold mine of information,
there might be
we missed the one.
Yeah, the winner there. Yeah.
And I'm not the person to process all that information, because I fucking hate reading one email, let alone gazillion.
Yeah.
So we've got an amazing team of people that, and someone who's been prepared to take that sort of challenge on, and that's been a tough one. That's made him quite unwell at times.
Yeah.
But it means that we feel like we've looked at all the stuff that's been sent. There is stuff that is supportive in a way that, can be therapeutic and all these types of things. There's lots of things that can support. A positive mindset is, we look at the way stress negatively impacts the body, in alopecia and various other things, for me, colitis. Yeah. So if stress manifests itself in the body physically, then so can positivity. So, the importance of the way that you approach this challenge and how you stay strong in your head doesn't mean it'll be easy. I have plenty of days that are not that are hard.
Yeah.
And I'm in the easy bit.
Yeah.
I'm at the start.
Yeah.
So, but I do still think the life that I've led has almost sort of prepared me to be able to adapt and cope with this, and that's okay, and I'm at ease with that. It doesn't mean it won't be emotional still, doesn't mean that it won't be hard, but I remain hopeful that the individuals that have worked incredibly hard over decades and decades in this space, in the M&D world, nurses, doctors, specialists, neuroscientists, there's so many pushing so hard at the minute, and they generally believe that something is not far away.
Yeah.
But it's not just one thing you're looking for in M&D. Like in a lot of diseases, there's sort of multiple factors that need to align for it to really...
Right, okay. So how would you explain motor neurone disease in simple terms?
Motor neuron, well, so it just basically kills your motor neurons, which eventually, kills your muscles. So your muscles gradually waste away. In me, you can't see a huge amount.
What have you noticed that since the last few months?
So my right hand is the most noticeable, which isn't too, which isn't even too noticeable really.
Yeah.
It's just you can see some loss of mass between the fingers and around there, some in the wrist.
Yeah.
And then behind the rear delt, which is where I first noticed it actually, which because of loss of strength.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. There is one thing about this disease. It feels complicated. And I suppose for me and the people that I have around me is how do we simplify it so I can understand it better? And that's what we're trying to do. And because if we can simplify it, then in terms of where I want to apply my effort, you talked about Doddy and those guys, and I generally feel like I'm sort of coming off the bench, like they're giving me the baton. It's like they've done all the graft already, and they're handing me this baton. Come on, mate, you're in. And I feel like if I can simplify in my head, and if that's possible, even, they'll help us apply our effort. And that's something I really want to do. I've lived a life in retirement of charity, of supporting others. It's the thing I enjoy more than anything, right? You talked about putting on events and allowing people to have a good time. I just enjoy supporting people in whatever way it is, whether it's with our company, with our charity, with the work that I do.
Lewis Moody Foundation raising up to £2 million. As at one point, I think you've done, I can't remember what the exact figure is, but you've raised millions of pounds for brain tumour charity. You and Annie. That's
remarkable. Yeah.
Extraordinary.
Yeah. I'm always disappointed in that brain tumour. It'd be much easier to continue the charitable stuff.
Yeah.
We have the challenge now is that we have a charity, which we will continue because we've got some wonderful people, and the brain tumour charity is an unbelievable organisation.
Yeah.
And it's needed.
But we've got a big event coming up.
Indeed.
A massive event on the 22nd of April. Do you know what I found fascinating being on, what do we call it? Not committee, what do we call it?
The advisory group.
Advisory group.
Committee.
The way it sounds, yeah. Well, but there's 10 of us on the advisory group.
Yeah.
And what's been achieved for your big event in Battersea Evolution on the 22nd of April hasn't even been promoted yet. And we sold over 100 tables.
Oh, God.
Over 100 tables and like 1,000 plus people already in like a few weeks. That's remarkable.
Cool, hey,
it's remarkable.
Yeah, it is. But that's the power of people, right? It's the power of the
people wanting to. The amount of people that have poured out and love. When this come out, and I saw it all over the press. You obviously dropped your closest WhatsApps. We knew a week before, but when it came out on the press, everywhere the love that come in for you and Annie and the kids was just off the charts.
Yeah,
and I understand why.
I don't. I do. Fuck this. Literally spend every day crying.
Yeah.
I don't at all.
No.
I have moments that, do you know what? I had a chat with a psychologist. I'll dive into this because I think it's important to talk about your emotions, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's easy to mask it over. But I am so optimistic. I'm so positive. I know I will handle this.
You will handle it.
And I know.
If there's anyone going to handle it, you're going to handle it.
And I know all those things. But so what I said to her is that I've always got this weird underlying emotion. And it sort of kicks in when I talk about other people or the support, like the support that we've experienced. That it always kicks me off because I don't know why, but it just does because it's overwhelming. It's lovely. It's you don't expect it.
Yeah.
And she just said to me, it's like it's okay. It's okay to have by letting it in. By letting the emotion in and actually going with it, feeling it.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not, that's not going to, she's always explained it, that's not going to consume you. It won't suddenly always be sad. And I was like, do you know what? That's a really good point. I think I've probably spent a long time since diagnosis just trying to repress it because I want to stay happy. I want to stay positive and all those types of things. But it's okay to have one foot in each camp. And it doesn't mean that if I let it in and the emotions come and I let them out, that I'm going to be constantly sad because I won't. And I know from sport that I can bounce through real high emotions real quickly.
Yeah.
And go the other way, but also learn how to sit in the middle. But what I know is that whether it's the extreme high or the extreme low, is I know that I'll be all right, and it's okay, to be in one of those places at any given time and just embrace it and sit in it.
And understand which emotion you're in.
Yeah. And you talked about awareness and just almost name it and just go, okay, this is where I'm at the minute and that's good.
How hard was it for you to break the news to Dylan and Ethan?
Oh, fuck. Horrible. Horrible. But I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we did it in the way that we did it because it was one of those. I'd sort of known for a while anyway. I'd been given the heads up probably a month before. This is what it could be. I was like, fuck. And actually that month was the worst. By far the worst. I slept. Excuse me. I didn't sleep. You're constantly on your mind. And actually as soon as you found out, it was almost a relief. That sounds strange, and I'm sure most people would say this. I'm assuming most people would say this. Is that as soon as you have information, you have the ability to do something, and you have a little bit of peace. But obviously, then came, okay, now I've got this information. What do I do with it? And all I'd wanted to do for the month before was tell the kids that we're going through a tough time, and actually it's hard at the minute. So me and Annie chatted together, and we said, look, we're going to tell the boys when we get home. I've always been, my way of doing it is just get straight to it, don't bullshit. And we just walked through the door and told Dylan first. And yeah, man, fuck it, it's hard, right? Because neither of them even really knew what it was. They'd heard about MND, but Dylan took it pretty well.
Dylan's 17.
He's 17, yeah. He's actually 18 next to a couple of weeks. The hardest response to handle was Ethan's because he didn't understand it, but he was just, very emotional about it. And actually he really craved information. Yeah. So he said, I just need to know, what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? It's like, well, I've got a life-limiting condition. This is what's going to happen. Is there anything else I need to know? Is there anything I've got to know now? You got to tell me now. And as soon as he'd had the information, he's been able to process it. And I think because they see me, right, you can sit here and look at me now, you know, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And that's good, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, everyone talks about being more present and living in the present and all that type of stuff.
And Ethan's 14.
14, yeah.
Yeah. Was that harder?
It wasn't hard. I think the age made a difference.
Yeah.
I think the responses, you know, Ethan was much more like emotional about it. Dylan processed it. You know, he was, you know, obviously there's a lot of cuddles, all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of tears. But we're emotional about something that hasn't happened as well. You're emotional about news.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a piece of news. Yeah. And as we spoke about earlier, the thing that it changes is like the sort of future is unclear now. The future is always unclear.
Always, yeah.
So that's the real like battle you've got in your mind, is that, okay, I've got this piece of information, and the horrible thing about it is that you probably have to witness it, and you know, the inner struggle that you have about not over sort of observing your own body, which as an athlete you've spent a lifetime doing, you know, so watching the sort of, you know, muscle wastage, or, you know, strength disappearing, or grip strength, or, you know, whatever it might be in your legs, in your in the voice, or wherever. So, but everything now is okay, and actually that's all that matters, because, you know, tomorrow's gone.
Yes, right.
You know, yesterday is yet to happen, and today is all we have. And without being too sort of philosophical about it, it's easy to say when you're in a position that I'm in now, but it really clarifies your thinking and your understanding of what that really means. And the only decision I made when I retired, and retirement's hard enough, right, from sport or business, or, you know, and people literally retire. You go from the purpose is gone, the who you are, everything that connects you to
Rugby.
Yeah. What you were.
Yeah.
You know, that's gone. And all of a sudden you find yourself in this very different space. But the only decision I made when I retired was, okay, I've met a lot of people that have retired early because they're trying to reclaim time with their family. So the only decision I made was, whatever I do next, has to afford me the time with my family, so that I don't regret it in my 50s, 60s, and I'm looking back and like, fucking now, 15 years on from making that decision. And, you know, I've had 15 years of quality time with my boys and Annie, you know, all of our family. I have a wonderful life, you know, wouldn't change anything. I would change my diagnosis, obviously, but, you know, and I feel fortunate that I'd been surrounded by good people that helped me make that decision at that time. Meant that I didn't earn as much money as I could potentially have done if I'd gone into a life in the city or insurance or any of that stuff. But I chose to do the thing that was important to me, and that was time with my family. And I'm so fucking grateful now, you know, because you look forward and who knows what that looks like.
You've got a beautiful family. It's one of the most tight-knit families I've ever come across.
Well, that's kind, mate.
You're a quality family.
But that's because I've been able to spend
time with them. The last 15 years.
Give them the things they
How's Annie?
She's good, mate. It's challenging.
Good,
yeah. She's CEO of Painkiller
She's doing so well, isn't she?
Yeah, she's properly she's in the right place. She should have been a long time ago, you know, running something.
Organise it.
Yeah, she's obviously she's organised me essentially for 20 years. We've been married 20 years this year, and we're considering going back to Bermuda, which is where we got married.
Is she? What's her emotions daily? Does it change like yours, or is she 1 foot in one and 1 foot in the other, or she's like, no, we're gonna do this.
I think
how does it?
Distraction's helpful, isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
She's got work.
She's
got work, and that's important. And that is helpful. It always fluctuates, mate. Yeah. There's no plain sailing, but it's honestly, you know, we're getting emotional here, and there's a negative. No, that's not the right word either. There's a slight dourness, you know, to this news. Yeah, but it's not new to me, and I don't feel down about anything. Yeah. I feel good. I feel like I can embrace all the things
whatever's
that
coming.
Yeah. And as I said to you, but that doesn't. I can't help Annie feel that way. I can't help anyone else feel that way. So being really aware of actually what everyone else is going through as well is important, because you know, they're the people that you need around you. And, you know, when shit progresses, they are going to be the people that are there. And, you know, so having all those honest conversations now and getting that out of the way, and then, you know, reassessing as time goes on and we need to adapt and changes occur. But we'll adapt with that, you know, mentally and physically. But yeah, I can't.
You've got a great mindset, Lou.
I'm lucky, man.
You've got a great mindset. You've had
I'm lucky. Life has given me that opportunity. Yeah, it's given me ulcerative colitis, which meant, you know, during my 24, 25.
Colitis.
We won a World Cup.
Yeah.
You know, I'd had multiple injuries to that time, and injuries are a great way of, you know, dealing with adversity is a strong word, isn't it? But, you know, just building your inner strength, making you appreciate how you can come back from anything.
Yeah.
Lots of people, as you said, quit, give up.
Yeah.
You know, for me, there was never even in my mind. It was like, I'm going to play rugby. I fucking love this. There's no way this little thing's making me stop. We had broken ankle, ruptured Achilles, blah, 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 blah. The fucking list goes on forever. I mean, that did get tiring. But then, you know, throw into that equation, you know, dealing with another, you know, disease, illness, ulcerative colitis. And that's probably brought on by stress, also maybe by the amount of drugs we were taking at the time and all that type of stuff. But all these sort of scenarios, you know, have put me in a perfect place to be able to deal with this, and having people like Ed and Doddy that you can look at and go, fucking okay, those guys did it. We've got all that information to call upon as well, and they've all reached out, and, you know, Kath and Kev Sinfield and Kenny Logan and, you know, all these incredible human beings who've all reached out with support and knowledge to share, because that knowledge, once you have knowledge, you can do things. And even if there isn't a huge amount to do, you feel like you can do something. Yeah. And even if for me, you know, it's just where you apply that next effort. You know, we talked about the dinner, you know, so, you know, my name is Doddy is been a huge part of my learning about M&D, Kenny Logan, Paul, all the guys that are there, you know, the other charities that exist around it, you know, M&DA. I mean, there is so many charities doing so many good things in the M&D world. My goal isn't to set up another charity. It's just to support those ones that are out there already. And, you know, we're not quite aligned, or no, that's not the right word. We are aligned. We're just not quite defined what that looks like at the minute. But we're close. And in April, hopefully we'll be
April 22nd. That's gonna be a cracker.
Yeah.
Anyone listening out there, go and check. Where can people find it?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Hasn't been promoted yet, but we sold like 1,200 tickets. Black tie.
I think we've got 20 spaces.
20 tables left.
Yeah.
Was it 20? Yeah, 20 tables left. Which I think they go like hotcakes as soon as it goes out.
You can probably go. I don't know what
everyone and anyone in the sporting world and that world will be there that evening.
Yeah, mate. I did those things. I was feeling awkward about that today. It was like, you know, I was at Matt Hampson's dinner last night. You know, quality event, amazing human being, great people, lots of support, and has done for however many years he's been going, which is a long time now. I was just thinking, fucking, how awkward is it going to be for me? Because it's all right when you've got a charity, you know, but I don't, you know, for me on that night being at that event, it's going to be challenging because I'm front and center. It's about it feels like it's a little bit about me, and I've never quite enjoyed being. I'm not a great self-promoter, you know.
You're selfless.
Yeah,
like you know what? You know, there was one time when you and Annie sent a WhatsApp, and I drove down to Bath before it went out in the press. You and I were in that cafe, and this woman came up, and you and I were talking about what's just been what you got M&D. This woman come up and you gave her a big hug. She's like, "How are you, Lewis? I'm absolutely fine." And it was just like, "How are you? You cared." I just saw this massive. You're just so selfless and have been for so many years. Like you're always like people around you, if they're upset, it's like, "Well, are you okay? Are you okay?" It's like, bloody hell, mate.
Yeah, but that's what I enjoy. Yeah. That's what I prefer. Yeah, I don't like the attention all being on me. It doesn't mean that I don't enjoy having attention when I've done something worth celebrating and achieving. I love that. Yeah. But yeah, just have it's tricky. I will find the 22nd hard. I will, but I will be glad to get to it. I'll be enormously grateful of all the support, the people, the advisory group, absolute lunatics we've got.
Great bunch.
That's doing great things.
That was a great dinner the other night.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. The first one, You missed the first one,
Yeah.
which ended up at like 4
I
in
was
the
on
morning.
hold, yeah.
One of my mates, Al, has got his own whiskey brand that he's just launched. He's got his own face on it as well. And
Al the guy who's done the North Pole and South Pole with?
yeah. You'll have to get
Al
Al.
Chambers. He's coming on.
Is he?
He's coming on, yeah.
He is a top
Great
man.
guy.
He's got some great stories. But yeah, he's also a good entertainer. So he brought out a gazillion different types of whiskey and all sorts. And yeah, it was a long night, but a good one, mate. But those people are key, especially around a specific thing, just good people who are there they're there purely to help and just doers. And then obviously we need a couple of people that might actually organise some shit and keep us all on track rather than
Sporsy, before we come out here, I said, any questions I put out on the socials.
Yeah.
Sporsy said, are you the only professional superstar sportsman to wee sitting down?
I only do that at night. I don't want to piss on the feet.
Just lift it up.
It's too much hassle, isn't it?
In the dark.
Mate, contacts in. I like, fuck it. Just, yes. I often do that and I sit and I just doze. I could potentially, I worry about pissing myself.
Have you got really good fond memories of the World Cup in 2003?
Yeah.
Yeah. What really stands out for you? If you were to pick a couple of moments.
What stands out for me is how I feel about it now and how I feel around the people that I did it with. And, we talked about all the stupid stories, that you can share about people. And people always want to hear the stupid stories, which is great and fun to share.
Yeah.
And, we love sharing them. But actually, we never debriefed that World Cup after the event. So we spent years going through prepare, play, plan, prepare, play, plan, prepare, play, so brief, debrief, prepare. It's just ongoing. Get to the game, it was prepare, play, the end, celebrate. And that celebration obviously went on for a long time. And but we never sat down as a group and actually went through it and just had beers together as a group and the coaches and partners and celebrated what we did and really just looked at it. And we only did that 3 years ago. It's crazy, it's 3 years ago already. Yeah. So 20 years after the event.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Why would you not get, if you want a World Cup together, surely you'd have a bond of a group all on a WhatsApp.
Yeah,
it wasn't WhatsApp back then.
No, there wasn't WhatsApp. Yeah,
but something to go right.
You could have an email chain, couldn't you? Could have any. Yeah, we just
never happened.
I don't know.
Maybe to the next thing.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly. Well, some of us were still playing. I mean, I went on and played for another 8 years. Some of the lads retired straight away. Clive stepped away. New coaches come in, and it just continues, doesn't it? The journey continues. But the strongest memory is how I feel about the lads when I see them now. It doesn't mean that we're all best mates. We definitely weren't. You've got your mates, your close mates. You can probably count on one hand. You've got the lads that you get on well with because you play at club and, you just get on well with. And then you've got the other guys, that you respect. They're good professionals, but you're not bothered about spending time with them. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I think what we went through, what you recognise that it forges is that actually it created a real love, whether you got on with some of these people or not, for that moment in time, because you were so hell-bent on achieving something and you were all clearly focused on it. You knew what you had to do. You were all prepared to do it. And you went out and did it. It just, every time you took the field, it just fostered a sort of deeper love. And it sounds a weird thing to say, doesn't it? But it's true. Like when I see the guys now, I do, it's a bond through.
For life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Give me three of the hardest players you've played with or against on the field, and then I want to know one player off the field having to tear up on the cobbles who you would pick.
Oh, I'm going to go in reverse because I can't remember what you said at the start. So
on the cobbles, on the streets, who would it be?
Two people. Well,
go and get me a couple.
3 people.
Yeah,
easy. So in terms of fighting capability, so I would have been very enthusiastic, but terribly inaccurate. So would have got battered. I'm an awful fighter, enthusiastic. Whereas Leon Lloyd, Lewis Deacon, and Julian White are
that's a combo, isn't it?
Clinical
finishers,
street fighters from Cov and Blebe. Oh, and Whitey's from I think Devon.
Where's White from?
Cornwall, maybe?
Okay,
no, Cornish, maybe.
He was a tough man, wasn't he?
Really tough, mate. I remember he is. When you see Whitey, I don't think you get an appreciation for the human that he is. He is such an entertaining character. but a proper hard, tough-looking old figure. Farmer. Now he's got his own sort of farming Instagram stuff going on. But he was ruthless, mate. Oh, my God, yeah. Like, he'd one punch, boom, over.
Didn't he? What did he knock out? Who was the big lump up front? Was it Sheridan?
Sure, yeah, knocked out Sheridan. Mate, anyone he played against that pissed him off, he just knocked him out. Yeah, I remember we played him. We played Leicester Bristol, and I was on the scrum, and I gave Whitey a cheap shot, and he stood up after the scrum and chinned Adam Balding because he was it was him instead of me. I was like, Ball's like, what are you doing? I was like, sorry, mate, it was peripheral. But no, mate, they were, Leon Deeks and Whitey.
Leon's now a doctor. Fair play to him.
A double doctor, isn't he?
Double doctor, yeah.
Yeah, mate, he is remarkable. Yeah, work ethic.
Grafter.
Yeah.
Who on the field has been the hardest you play against? Who you just think, mate, I know I'm up against it today?
Lomu. First time I played Lomu, I mean, he was freak, unbelievable. And that's harsh. He was just, he was the beast before they were beasts. The league, all the rugby teams have him now, don't they? These massive sort of Samoan, not even Samoan. You get the guys like George North or Matt Banner. I just think, you get backs that are massive now, quick, powerful. But the Islanders are destructive. That's just beasts. So Lomu. Who else? Backy's Botha. Backy's Botha. He was like the enforcer, horrible bastard.
Yeah.
Like he battered me in the first game I played against South Africa, and I remember taking like 3 or 4 beatings every time I went into a ruck, and eventually I was like, I'm going to have to sort this out. I was probably 21, 22. He might have been younger than me. And he's massive, like 6'6", 20-odd stone. And I remember getting smashed in the face by him in another breakdown, rolled out, just thought, right, fuck this. Jumped up, punched him straight in the nose. He didn't even move, Rich. I think he was so shocked that someone had dared punch him in the face, like so openly. And he paused for enough time to allow me to sort of scarper off. But that contest is the cool bit, is that he was trying to enforce his will on me, and South Africa were the most physically brutal team in world rugby, and probably still are. And so if you like the physicality of the game, you need to confront the most physical player on the pitch, and that was Backy's. And for me, it sort of, obviously he then spent the rest of the game trying to chase me down and absolutely beat the fuck out of me. But it forged connections and respect when you play guys like that. Like Richie McCaw, I would never compare myself to Richie because he was just a god of back rowers, consistent in every game. Like he played 140 caps or whatever it was.
Did he get a ton 40?
Yeah, it's crazy. In that position. And every game, he was the one person that was targeted because he was so good. But every game, he was there or thereabouts, man of the match.
Yeah.
I mean, he's different gravy. And I suppose the other person, not to play against, but to play with, was Jono, just the beast, right? He was great. And if anyone gets the opportunity to listen to Jono, we've been at a few events recently, and he's so relaxed, and you just hear the stories sort of come flowing out, and he loves sharing it, especially when he's in company of his mates or that 03 group. And I would recommend anyone has the opportunity to go and listen to him speak, because how he speaks about the game. And also Jono, I think, and this is going to sound derogatory, I don't mean it to be, because of his appearance, he's a huge, imposing character. He's quite sort of stern looking.
Yeah.
I don't think people appreciated how intelligent a human being he is and how intuitively he understood the game of rugby. It was just second nature to him. And we were at an event the other day, and he was talking to some of the younger players or coaches, and you just listen to how he talks about it. It's like immediately everything goes silent, and you have to listen.
Yeah, respect.
God, that makes absolute sense. I've not thought of it, and how you say it. Yeah. He's just got that. Some people just have a presence, don't they? You walk into a room, everyone looks at you, go, oh, yeah, you just feel it. And Jono was like that to play with. Like, you wanted to be near him because you knew he'd be the first bloke climbing out of the blocks trying to tuck into the opposition. So you wanted to be on that journey with him. And, mate, it was a cool time to enter England and Leicester when he was captain, because it was just...
golden times, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The whole period.
But put the success to one side. Like, the enjoyment that you got out of training that hard and that physically and testing each other continually, it was just so enjoyable. Like, in a sort of, slightly sadistic type of way, is that it was hard and it was horrible. And, tough players like Darren Garforth and and Cockers and Fritz van Heerden and old school guys like that would test you constantly.
Yeah.
But it was enjoyable, man. Like, I look back on it with joy. Yeah.
What was it like going on an away day, trying to get the back seats of the bus, fighting for the back seats of the bus at Leicester?
Well, when you were younger, not fun at all. No, because
give me an example of what you had to do and what went on.
Well, so normally what would happen, the young lads, whether you played your first game or not, if it was an away trip, the young lads, whoever, the older players deemed that was on that given day, would have to stand up and attempt to get to the back of the bus, just the back seats. But the back seats were always, proliferated with, so you had Martin Curry, you had Martin Johnson, you had Will Johnson, you had, who else was there? Neil Back. Now, and actually, in fairness, Neil Back's handy with his fists as well. He's a tough little nugget. Who else would have been in there? Some of the front rowers, so Dan Garforth, Graham Roundtree, Cockers probably would have been in and around it. I would have been somewhere in the middle, or some of the backs, like would Leon have been in there? No, weren't a huge number of the backs. Dave Lockheed, who is an enormous Canadian winger,
I remember him.
He had a little go, but no one really ever made it to the back. There was one person who definitively made it, and it was the least likely person you'd ever imagine. So there was an Australian fly half called Pat Howard who went on to be our coach.
Howard, yeah.
He was tiny, and I say soft in the sense that he had a soft nature, not that he was not a tough character, because he was tough, but he was astute. So he recognised that there was an opportunity when all the massive mutants at the back were stood up filling in, 20-year-olds, that they probably wouldn't be paying attention to what was happening under the seat. So he just crawled under the seats and popped up in the corner and waited for it all to die down. And before one of the lads realised he'd made it. So he was the only person that's ever actually allowed to sit on the back seat as a back or as someone that had made it. It got tasty, when people got probably filled in, seats got broken often. It's just a different time, mate. But it sounds weird when you talk about it like that, but it was fun. It was the environment that was normal to us, and I appreciate that. It's okay that norms change, right? And that's not normal now. But for us at that time, that was normal, and actually it was what made us great. It was like the constant competition. It was the fooling around. It was the goofiness of it, but then it was total application to your job when you turned up. It was like we worked so hard, we trained so hard. We will play hard when we get the opportunity as well. And I remember one of those backseat incidents. So Peter Short, who was a big back rower, second row, played for Leicester and Bath. He's probably, 6'5", 19 stone. Dean Richards, who was, played the 91 World Cup final, England great, 50-odd caps, who was the coach at the time. He's just a big child, Dean, really. Yeah. He loves messing still. So when he was coaching, after a game, there'd be a bit of wrestling. Everyone would try and take Dean down. He'd be having a few pints. And Dean had an ear operation to clear out his ear canal so he could hear better. And Shorty decided on the way back to the bus, so we'd all had a few drinks. We just won another league title against Bristol, and Bob Dwyer, who was our old Tigers coach. And so we'd done a bit of celebrating in Bristol. As we're coming off, Dean's had a few, Shorty's had a few. Shorty decides to hide behind a tree just before the bus. And as Dean approaches, because Dean's got this crazy farmer strength, right? It would just, you try and jump on him, it would just like swat you off like a fly, no matter who you are, just crazy strength. And Shorty hid behind this tree, and as Dean's like happily wandering up to the bus, he jumped out on him, and they're fucking wrestling. And as Dean, they sort of calmed down, and Shorty didn't get the better of him, didn't take him down. Dean goes anyway, just wanders off, gets back on the bus. He gets on the bus, and the lads are like, "Oh my God, mate, what the?" So his ear just hanging off, like literally like by a couple of stitches here, because he'd had this operation. I'm sure he'd accidentally pulled his ear off. And the doc, who must have had about 7 or 8 gin and tonics by that stage, he was totally incapable of doing any stitching. So they basically got some sellotape and any medical tape that they could find, and they just taped his ear on his head. And we went off to another pub on the way back, and I think it wasn't until the morning that he actually went in and got it repaired. But yeah, it was different times, but fun.
Good times.
Fun. It was good, yeah.
Good times on the piss. I'm just thinking of all the different funny things we've done. Do you remember getting on the pit? Do you remember going to your place in Marbella? You're like, "I'll just go away for a couple of days. I want to get away from rugby." I think you had a broken leg or broken ankle or something. We're like, we'll just keep it easy. We'll go easy on this one. And we found the old Tinta Verano The red wine mixed with lemonade.
Well, no, we should be really clear because we'd planned a relaxing massage, bit of training.
That's right.
2 days, 3 days by the pool, no booze, just chill. First night, did a weight session. In all fairness, and you put your neck out immediately after two reps of shoulder press, and so we went upstairs at a barbecue. You brought out the Tinto Verano, red wine lemonade. I'm a sucker for anything sugary.
Yeah,
so that was perfect. But instead of having like just a couple of glasses, we had about 4 or 5
What bottles.
Next thing you knew, I was on crutches and with a broken leg. You'd fucking ditched me in the centre.
We drove down in the golf buggy.
No, that was the morning after. Morning after we went down it.
No, we drove down. We drove down in the golf buggy, and we're on the main road in the golf buggy driving down into.
That was the morning after.
Was it?
I'm sure that was the morning after. We got a cabin. And I remember distinctly saying to you, "Whatever you do, I'm on crutches. Do not leave without me." And next thing you knew, I had fucking no idea what was going on because we were obviously battered.
What were we doing down there?
And I was in the middle of Bernous, and I had to climb. You know, I had to
climb that wall to get.
I had to climb over the gate.
Who was it? Was it your place or Lloydie's?
Lloydie's, yeah.
Do you remember when Lloydie turned up the following day?
He told you specifically not to sleep.
Who's been sleeping in my bed? We were larruped when we was like cross-eyed. We're like, mate.
Yeah. Oh, mate, good time.
That was funny.
Yeah, it was. But hey, life. There's something about. I don't know. There's something about the sort of
silliness.
Yeah, it's great. Like, do you know what I enjoy now? Because I stopped drinking quite a lot. No, I didn't stop drinking, but
less.
Drunk a lot less. I would say between 18 and 25. We probably drank twice a week, Wednesday and Saturday. Yeah. Certainly the first few years when you were developing. And actually people probably be surprised to know that even during those years when we were so successful, we were going out on a Wednesday night midweek as young players. Yeah. But you turn up to training, you deliver, you turn up and play at the weekend, you deliver. And it just worked for us until a certain point you get to sort of 25 and then you start to pay it down. But it's only really in the last, year or so that I've generally quite enjoyed getting back into. So, for instance, I would go to all these events like Hambo's dinner, whatever. I would rarely stay now. Whereas back in the day, I would have been there all night, 4 a.m. But I'm just starting to sort of find my enjoyment of it again. I don't know what it was that stopped me. I don't know whether it was the frustration or the disappointments or, when you became, as you move through the international status and you become more recognisable and you do campaigns for Nike and you got your face and boom.
But you had it, mate. Remember we did that supermarket sweep around Nike?
Oh, yeah.
And then we went up to, where were we? Leicester Square, was it? No, where's the big Nike store? I can't think where the big Nike store.
Town.
Nike Town in somewhere, Oxford Street, Oxford Street. And we were there, and you and I turned up.
Nike has off the back of that.
Yeah, plug. But do you remember we turned up? They had this massive billboard of your face in an England kit.
Yeah. Like, but it was a specific campaign. But that's what I mean.
That was unreal, mate. And we were they went, there's a trolley, and me and you were just throwing stuff in and said, help yourself. You were like, Dodge, help yourself. I was like, someone that.
Mate, it was bizarre.
Pile it all in.
But you're in a it's like
bubble.
A fake world. Yeah. Bubbles is a good way of putting it, isn't it? Because that doesn't exist in reality outside of it.
How did that make you feel? You're walking up there and there was this like 50-foot billboard of you in an England night kit outside Nike.
Cool but uncomfortable. Like the sort of the idea of being centre stage at a dinner where it's all about you. So it's cool because it's like an acceptance. No, not an acceptance. It's like an appreciation.
It's respect, right?
Yeah.
They go, mate, you are one of the best at what you do in the world.
Yeah. And that's all I ever wanted, really.
Give me some other examples of when you were at your peak. Like, what was your peak salary? Where were you? Was it Leicester or was it Bath?
Bath in terms of club salary was peak. Yeah, I don't know. Probably, I think it was about 190, 200 grand.
Back in what, 2010, 2011?
2010.
Yeah. Were you at Bath before you went to the World Cup?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so joined summer of 2010.
Yeah, okay. And
then the World Cup was autumn 11.
And how much would have been on? Why did you leave Leicester? What happened?
They let me go.
What, literally, like we're not renewing, or?
Yeah, so we decided. But I'd been at Leicester since I was 14. Me, Geordie Murphy, and Lewis Deacon were sort of the last older senior players, and we'd been negotiating contract. And I don't know, I was at a time in my life where I'm in an iron about whether it was time to move and do something different or go abroad. But to play for England, you still had to be based in England. So I'd made the decision to stay, I think, at Leicester, but we're negotiating the contract. So there's probably all the usual games being played. He's going to go. Let's get a better deal type thing. And anyway, so they signed Jordan and Deeks, and that was sort of telling to me. But the real the first time I knew was I'd just played my first game as England captain, ironically, and on the Wednesday I got a call from Cockers, Richard Cocker, just to say, mate, can you come into the office on Thursday when you come back? I was like, hold on a minute, he's never called me, or if I've been called into the office, it's only for like a review of the game or something. So I called agent straight away and just said, mate, look, it's either going to be one way or the other. It's either really good news or really bad news. So at that point, we'd been looking at some clubs in France, but because I was pretty focused on staying in Leicester, we hadn't really even considered clubs in the UK because I didn't really want to play against anyone else. And so we called one of our friends, and so Tasha, Annie called Tasha, and Tasha was like, oh, well, there's actually a place at Bath.
Danny's missus.
Tasha's mate, Danny Grewcock, so Annie and Tash were best mates, and that was it. So that sort of started the ball rolling, and I ended up at Bath. And mate, I'm grateful that happened, because it made me appreciate how special Leicester was in terms of the environment that was created there, you know, the sort of professionalism. I'm grateful that it allowed, I had the opportunity to experience something different and recognize that actually how I went about entering that environment was wrong. I had this sort of whole, I need to come and help change, whereas actually I needed to understand how to integrate myself into that team in a way that was, useful and purposeful to them, because they played a very different way. They had a very different mindset about everything. I found the rugby difficult, but now the weird thing is, having spent so long in Leicester, 20 odd years in Leicester, Bath is home.
Beautiful,
right? It's home.
Yeah,
it's my home.
Yeah.
So it's where it's all the kids know. We love it. Bradford-on-Avon's where we live, but my rugby home is still Leicester. Like my heart on a rugby field is always with the Tigers. But kids, got kids who are in the pathway at Bath, they're loving it. So we've got some healthy rivalry. Like those Leicester Bath games are quality.
Yeah.
I love it, mate. But I can't remember what I was talking about. What were we saying? You asked me about my salary.
No, I was asking about you. So, and how much at peak were you earning as an England player if you're in the squad? Was it, rumours have it was 20 grand, 25 grand, or did you see it jump as you were older?
We were never that high. So yes, of course it jumped. I think I remember it being sort of 1,500 for a win bonus when I first started.
Yeah.
Around 3 grand, and by the time we finished, it was probably 12 to 15 match fee. I don't recall there being a win bonus. That's memory, mate. I might be wrong there.
Yeah.
And that's changed since as well. So that was over a decade, and going from amateur to professional, obviously. So there was a lot to address there, but and to get right and to get wrong. Obviously the England lads that were involved at the time had that strike in 2000 to make sure that they were paid properly.
And what was that? Who led that strike?
I can't remember. Because I wasn't involved in it.
Yeah.
I was outside the squad at that time. So I remember Jono talking about it. So this is just from his, my memory of what he said was that, Clive, he chatted with Clive about, we feel like the lads need to be, financially rewarded for what they're doing. And Clive said, absolutely, I'll support you to whatever decision you make, I'll support. And I think then when obviously they decided to strike, Clive was like, "What? No!" And it led to a big discussion in the team room again, which I wasn't a part of, but
needed.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah,
if you think about it, that squad of 22, they're getting paid that amount compared to a £4 million turnover on the gate, minus the beer, minus the sponsorship. It didn't seem right.
I think that's what those boys believe made them. It was started and instigated the tightness around that group. That they were prepared to take that stand. Even when the coach, was frustrated with the stand they took and maybe disagreed with it, and it created a conflict.
Yeah.
Actually, that conflict created unity within the team, and eventually it created resolution between the coaches, and it was a strong starting point. One of the things that helped. Certainly don't advocate for going on strike to make sure you.
Sometimes it's needed, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes hold on a minute, we're not getting anywhere, so we're going to strike. You need us. We're performing. on the pitch.
Yeah.
Give me some other sponsors that come on board with you, because you've had unbelievable sponsors over the years, like people who want to work with you as a partner.
Yes. Well, so Nike we mentioned, Red Bull, Land Rover. I mean, they're all in different guises as well. Yeah, if you're good at something, people want to throw things at you.
Yeah.
You know, actually, and when you've got money, they want to give you even more money. Which is the weird thing, is that when you've not got it and you need some, there's never really to be bad. But yeah, I remember during that time, so between 03 and even actually from sort of 03 onwards, I suppose.
Is that when it all changed? 03.
Yeah,
Winning the World
of
Cup,
course.
bang.
Mate, we left.
Yeah.
We left going to 03 as just, you know,
England rugby
players
players,
that no one really knew. The most famous rugby face at that time was probably Rory Underwood's mum, if anyone remembers that.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
genuinely.
Yeah.
Because of all the tries he scored, she was always the person that they saw. And, you know, Johnny was starting to be recognised, and, you know, we'd run a Grand Slam, so it was creeping up. But it was not like, none of us were prepared for what was to come afterwards. I definitely wasn't. Like, you know, you get on the plane, you return home, you were just normal lads. We were normal lads, you know, to the point where you've got boys, the non-20, 23 or 22 it would have been then, you know, they were sat behind the bench with bottles of Lucozade full with vodka and Red Bull and all sorts during the final, drinking. And like sharing it around the subs, and the subs like, no. Yeah. But yeah, so we went away and we came back totally different human beings. Well, the perception of us was totally different.
Yeah, okay.
We were exactly the same. And people like Johnny and Jono were thrust into the craziness of it, you know. Jason, you know, Jace retired, you know, he did all he could to, you know, embrace the RFU sort of credit card and make sure he maximised it before he stepped away. You know, the number of drinking sessions he could put away was just remarkable. But a wonderful human being.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoy being with that squad now probably more than I did back then. Because of all the things we talked about. It was uncomfortable, you know, there were tricky characters and some people I didn't get on with, but we were all hell bent on achieving the one goal. So that meant that we found a way of, well, we respected each other, and on the pitch we loved each other and we would do anything for each other. That's the way I look at it, and not everyone might say that, but so when we came back, all of a sudden you're thrust into TV adverts, and you're on who's the guy with blonde hair? Chris Tarrant, yeah. Chris Tarrant did a TV show where he invited, so he sent out a message to all the wives saying, right, do any of the players have a special talent? And Annie goes to me, do you have a special talent? I was like, I can sing the Bee Gees. She was like, oh, okay, cool. I was like, you do not share that with anyone.
Go on, Annie.
Anywhere. And because it turned out that they were looking for people to go and like, so they had this TV show, Evening with the World Cup Squad. We come back, we sit on these stages in this auditorium. You've got a crowd full of celebrities. It was all celebs, like hundreds of them. And, you know, they introduced Jamie Cullum, you know, the sort of jazz pianist. He came up. And then after Jamie Cullum, so because they've been looking for people with Joe Worsley, whilst we were away in the World Cup, every opportunity he would sit on the piano.
He's a great pianist, isn't he? Yeah.
He is now. He is now. Back then, oh my God, he agreed to play the piano, and fair balls to him, because there's absolutely no way in the world you would have got me on a stage in front of celebrities. Yeah. You know, just after Jamie Cullum has performed basically with his elbows and his arse and his toes, one of the most, you know, phenomenal renditions of some jazz song ever. And he's got backing band and dancers. And literally after that, they invite Joe Worsley up on the stage. And ladies and gentlemen, we've got Joe Worsley, also an incredible pianist. But he didn't have backing singers. He didn't have music. He didn't have anything. It was just him on solo piano. Oh, my God, it was brutal. It was hilariously brutal, though. You know, if he was sat there looking over at his mates, all he would have seen was people like lying on the floor laughing. Because it was like, and they focused on his hands.
Massive.
They were like, look at his hugely disfigured fingers. Like, how does he even play the piano? Bong, bong. Oh, it was we were in bits. It was brutal, but yeah. Or then you go and meet the Queen, or you meet the Prime Minister, and you do all this shit. We were just normal lads. It was weird. So. But from that point, 100% from that point onwards,
life changed.
Yeah, it did change. Yeah, it became very abnormal, and I think we, like as an individual, I probably got sucked along with that for a while. You know, you get a bit more ego. You know, you think more highly of yourself, all that type of stuff, and yeah, you need a few humbling sometimes along the way to remind you what's important. But
did anyone try to stitch you up over the years?
Yeah. I had plenty. There was. I thought, well, it only really occurred when I was captain. So we had an incident when I was abroad, and you just knew something was wrong. Like when you're England captain, you just know you've got your. Like I was acutely nervous about doing it anyway. So when you are it, you're like
more aware.
Yeah. So I didn't really drink, and actually we were talking about drinking. That's sort of one of the reasons you're thrust into that spotlight from 03. All of a sudden you're captain. All those things, you just drink less because you're on
Just
show
in
more.
case, yeah.
Expectations of, you're held to higher expectations now than any other human being on earth. If you're in the spotlight and if you're a sportsman in particular, and that's okay, and you have to accept that. So you're aware of it. So yeah, absolutely. So I had a night out, and all of a sudden you sort of have a group of girls attach themselves to your party. Like, this is a bit weird, lads. Be sort of careful. And then at the end of the night, someone confronted us and tried to create a story out of nothing. I mean, it's crazy how people operate in that world. Because I never understood it. I never, like, when you see, I'm not a celebrity. I don't class myself as a celebrity. I was good at what I did, and therefore people know me for it. But there are individuals out there that go out to earn money off of taking people to actively creating a situation where they can take you down. I remember seeing, you see newspaper articles where, someone's been caught doing this or, such and such. I was asked to apologise for something I didn't do by my club. I was like, I'm 100% not apologising for that, because as soon as you apologise for something you haven't done, it's like Lewis Moody apologises for.
Yeah. What was it? Was it an undercover sting? Was it a newspaper?
It was just a setup. It was a chap that he'd obviously gone out there for a certain reason and was trying to make some money off the back of creating a story.
Yeah.
And I believe sort of planted a load of girls in a group to try and get a story. That didn't happen. So then concocted another way of doing it, and then they go to the club, tell you what's happened. Do you know what? That's not a story I want to get into, actually, because it fucked me off. I remember,
mate. I remember
people are that
low. Yeah, that low, to go that low to earn money to stitch you up for nothing you've done. I remember you're fuming,
and the stress that it creates in your life, like for months.
Is that stress because the papers are now jumping on? You're going, I haven't done anything.
Yeah, well,
that must be more annoying than
it's stress because you've spent a career building, behaving in a certain way, and none of us are, none of us are perfect, and that I'd accept. But you spend a lifetime and a career doing something, and then someone tries to stitch you up for something that you haven't done. Stuff like that's the unfairness sort of trigger again, isn't it? But I suppose that's the reality when you're in a professional sport, is that you are fair game, and you are held to a different set of standards than anyone else, and you just have to accept that. It doesn't make it easy. And it was fucking raging at the time, but it's not something. That's not no, because it gives air to people that
shouldn't even give it.
Don't talking about. But it was a realization that the stuff that you hear about people isn't always true.
Yeah.
The expression "there's no smoke without fire" isn't true. I'm sure it is in some cases, but there's. My experience is that there are just horrible people out there ready to create.
Tell me some of the stadiums around the world you absolutely adore playing in for atmosphere.
Well, the most horrible place I ever played was a place in Argentina. I can't remember the name of it. It had a 5x5 meter trench around it, separating the fans from the pitch, and probably a 20-meter high fence with what looked like barbed wire, although I'm imagining it can't have been barbed wire, but it might have been. It wasn't one of those things you studied pre-game. And I was like, fucking hell, why do they need all this? And you come out on the pitch, and Charlie Hodgson, I think, was the kicker. Like when he stepped up to kick the ball, literally everything landed at his feet. It was like anything that fit through the fence landed at his feet. Coins, pens, bottles, anything. I was like, okay, fair enough.
Welcome.
Welcome to Argentina. I don't know if I had to choose one stadium globally that I loved more than any other. I love the Principality, so Cardiff.
Brilliant. That's the best atmosphere.
Yeah, they do it well, the Welsh.
They do
right?
really well.
I know, their rugby at the minute, you feel sorry for them because it's a tough spot. But the stadium is always awesome. You know, they've got that sort of American razzmatazz. You turn all the lights off.
Yeah.
You put the spotlight on
Fire.
certain teams.
Roof closes.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
It's brilliant.
And as a player, you probably don't appreciate it as fans, but all the noise, all the singing that you do, that goes up, hits the roof and just dumps in the middle of the pit. So you get all that sort of noise, and you know, you're immersed in it. It's...
Do you know what's going on? When you're playing, do you know what's going on around? Do you know the songs that are singing? Do you hear anything? Or you just like, does it feel like you're just homed in between that white line, just playing 80 minutes of rugby? I could be anywhere, I could be in any pitch. Do you actually get the vibe and the feel when you're actually playing, rather than before you're about to play, when you're warming up, you're seeing it all, taking it in?
100%.
You do, yeah.
The fans, you know, everyone talks about, you know, the 16th man or the 12th man in cricket or whatever it is, but the fans have a huge role to play. Yeah. They do. And believe that, because, you know, as players, it doesn't mean you hear everything that's going on, but at certain times you feel the energy. Like, I'm a big believer in energy. It's like how you turn up, the energy that you present. You know, what energy do I want to receive from you? That's what I need to bring to you, so that I get it back. Right? Yeah, it's infectious. And you know, so stadiums are the same. Like if the crowd are energetic and they're buzzing, you sense it. It's quality, and especially like you've got a guy like Jason Robinson or Henry Arundel, or people that are electric on the ball, and the ball's in the air and you're running back and you can like almost hear the crowd.
Yeah, okay.
So even though there's probably not much noise, it's like, yeah. But equally, on the flip side, you know, if the crowd are having a shit time and they're thinking this is awful, I remember getting booed off against Argentina.
Where?
At Twickenham.
In Twickers.
And you know that. You hear that probably even more strongly than you hear the positives, for all the reasons that, you know, that the human brain just is built that way. But and I think that's okay, right? The fans need to be able to share what's acceptable and what's not. And at that time, they deemed that, you know, that performance wasn't acceptable, and I think it was fair. I remember thinking afterwards, do you know what? We definitely weren't at the races. We need to sort that out. I think I probably said that on the TV, but no, mate,
on the TV. Do you remember? Like, you come on board as ambassador for Viper 10 Sportswear.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah.
Should have said that, shouldn't I?
No.
Were you like?
No, because not at all. No, because do you remember? You can tell the story. You can tell this, or do you want me to tell the story?
I don't know which one you were saying.
We've got a load of stories. Well, one of them was with you're on BBC, and they go, there's like 5 million people watching, and you had a big black Viper 10 jacket, a big jacket pulled up, and a big Viper 10 there, and the BBC were like, you can't wear any branding on that. Right, Lewis, the side of the pitch, 3, 2, 1, we're now live. You're like, Viper 10 just there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the best decision ever made. I didn't do any more after that, but no, well, because we started. Excuse me, I was with Nike for best part of 10 years, I think. And then you created Viper 10 and we're like, look, you know, do you want to come over and, you know, support this? I was like, do you know what, why not? I've the latter stage of my career anyway.
Give it a go. What was it, 2010, 2011?
Probably 2010, I think.
2010.
It was when I moved to Bath, wasn't it?
11,
so
maybe, yeah.
It
was you as the England rugby captain. We had Pamela Cookie, who was the England netball.
Yeah, that's right. And there was a lad there that did all the skills stuff that I see on. He does all the social media, football tricks.
Yeah,
now.
He's on YouTube. He does all the tricks.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
And at the time, he was sort of a semi-pro footballer.
That's
so
right.
He came in as.
And we did that big video shoot, and he was doing all the keepy up. That was good time.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
really good times.
Yeah. What was the point of that question?
Just you being even because it's been sold 6 years ago.
You were talking about the
and also the Red Bull. Remember the Red Bull when you were allowed to drink Red Bull? Again,
there's another example of a terrible decision that I made.
What was that then? Did they say was it because England was sponsored by Lucozade?
Yeah,
was it?
That's exactly.
And they said you can't put Red Bull, but you were sponsored by Red Bull.
But the problem was they had Red Bull in the change room constantly. So I mean, that was totally my fuck up. Is that when you?
Oh, you're not allowed to take Red Bull. 3, 2, 1. Right, record, go, clap.
Yeah.
Anyway, great game we have.
Yeah, I suppose if it had been planned, I'd be I'd be happy with it. But it was one of those where you're in the change room and you've got all the sort of drinks around you, and for whatever reason, you know, someone
grab it.
You win the game.
You still
media guy comes in, he goes, "Come and do a TV interview."
Yeah.
You know, okay, cool. Come in. Bollocks! I got fined about $6,000.
Did you
doing that? Yeah.
But RFU fined you.
They did, yeah. I mean, I was terrible with sponsor stuff. It was I think people thought that. I mean, it was just
Who paid that?
I can't remember actually. No,
Red Bull. That's
I think they would have
take the £6,000.
I think they were. Yeah, I think they would have paid it.
I remember another time when we were out. We were me, you, Sporsy, and Annie's brother, Muggers.
Yeah.
Like when you were playing, you only had like very short windows, didn't you, of being able to do stuff away from rugby?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think we came down on Tuesday night and we went out for a meal in Wandsworth at this posh restaurant. And again, I think you were in cast, I think.
Again. Yeah.
And we were having a quiet one. We're not, come on, boys, just have a glass. And it ended up not being a glass.
They are the best nights.
They're the best nights.
Yeah, you go out.
And we ended up back at Sporsy's place. We started at 7. We're back at Sporsy's place.
Sporsy get a lot of airtime on this podcast.
He was actually paid. He's paid me. But I had the biggest meeting of my life with the title sponsor. This is 2008. And I was meant to be in Windsor at 10 a.m. And I thought I was just going to go for a nice meal, glass of wine, in bed by 9 p.m.
Oh, shit.
And do you remember in the morning we woke up and I was meant to be in Windsor at 10 a.m. and I had like 50 missed calls on my phone and we were all still in bed. And oh my God, I got the biggest meeting of my life. And bless her, Sophie at the time went and took it. She was her missed calls. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you?
Oh, mate, I do remember that.
Do you remember that?
We took a door off the hinges somehow as well in one of those. Muggers.
Rugby tackling each other.
Or was that your flat?
No, that was. I don't know whose flat it was, but we all just piled in there.
Yeah.
That was very amusing.
That was. I remember falling off a chair thinking I was sober. Like,
no, you fell off the chair in the restaurant.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was like, I don't remember being pissed. I just fell off the chair. I was like, oh shit. Okay.
But those nights are always the most fun, aren't they? Off the cuff.
So you woke up proper panicking though.
I was sweating, mate. We hadn't got to bed till 4 a.m, and I was meant to be in the biggest meeting of my life with an international sponsor.
Yeah.
Lucky we got the deal over the line. Thank God. Thank you, Sophie.
Mate, it's good. Yeah. It's good to know that we're all. I think there's always this sort of people think there's some sort of perfect way of doing something, or there's actually we've all got massive sort of
all quirks in our own way.
Yeah,
mate,
and make mistakes and figure it out, and
that's the
we
best bit.
Find a way now. Everyone finds the way, right? If you want it and you really want it, you will find the way, and no matter how many things go wrong,
And you got to find the funny side in things as well.
Yeah, you got to enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. But a part of, I think sometimes, I know whether you feel like this, when people say enjoy the journey, it's almost like, you're sort of dicking around and stuff like that. It's not,
But really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But that's where you develop. You become into a different person.
Yeah, but the enjoyment comes from the sort of growth that you make.
Yeah.
Which you can look back on.
Agree.
And when you then achieve at the end of it and you realise that
every step that you took there created your personality who you are today.
Yeah.
Or your contacts or
the
whatever.
reward for that effort that you put in comes from, it doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
But, when it does, it's quality. And it's that, that's that part of the journey. So that's what I enjoy about the journey. When, also, having, nights away and silly stories to share with mates where stuff's gone wrong, where you've, missed a 300 grand sponsor meeting because you went out for a couple of...
In my 20 hours, how old I've been?
Tintos.
Late 20s, early 30s, yeah. Was that 2008?
I should tell you in terms of that. So my first ever appraisal at Leicester was with Dean Richards, John Wells and Joel Stransky, all sort of gods of the game. Joel was South African World Cup winning fly off, and they were all my coaches, and I was 19. Second season. First season had, had scored 2 tries in my debut, had a bit of become the youngest player ever to play at Leicester, so it was sort of a groundbreaking season for me. And second season is always a bit trickier. So we had the end of year review, I'm 19, in a student house, part-time student.
You were at De Montfort, weren't you?
Yeah, De Montfort University, doing a business degree.
Business.
Yeah, shout out to all the teachers that helped me through that. I never finished it, obviously, but they tried. And I got a phone call, my housemate got a phone call, John Dinsdale. It was like... he came knocking on my door. Lewis, we'd been out for a curry on the piss all night the night before. It was the end of season. And I was covered in like curry sauce and stuff. And he was like, Lewis, it's Mr. Richards on the phone. I was like, who's Mr. Richards? He was like, it's Dean Richards, you dickhead. I was like, oh shit, what does he want? He was like, you're supposed to be in an end of year appraisal 15 minutes ago. I was like, oh my God, and I hated being late for stuff, because I hated being centre of attention for anything. So that meant, oh no. So I got in my mate, so Ali, who lost his leg when he was 16, so he had one leg. So he's had the pedals reversed on his car. His was the only car available. I was like, fuck, right. Ali, I need your key. He was like, no, you can't have it. I'm gone, mate. See ya. So it took his car. It took me about 15 minutes to get there because you brake and accelerate around the other way. I was like, oh, this is carnage. How do I get...
Oh, well, they flipped him because of the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because So because it was automatic. So I can't remember which way around it was, but either way, so the accelerator was where the brake was and vice versa. So I got to training, walked in, and 20 minutes late at that point. I was, imagine that, your first appraisal.
And Dino as well.
And Dino, and Wellesley, and Joel.
Yeah.
I literally walked in, and they just went, get out. I was like, oh no. I've got a 2-year contract. This is the end of my 2-year contract. And this is like the moment to, make sure you impress and do all the right things. I was like, oh no, they're going to fire me. This is awful. And I walked in, and I can, now looking back, they were obviously looking at a sort of old school dressing down, They were probably deciding whether it was worth keeping me or not. And they walked in, and I literally had curry down. I was in shorts, a white T-shirt, looked like an absolute mess. And I was hungover, and they were just looking at me like, you're an absolute state, aren't you? A state. And one of them, I can't remember who, said something like, also, not only are you living like a student, I was a student, which is a fair point. I wasn't professionally minded at that point. I just didn't get it. You don't care about your physical appearance, and that's probably fair. Like, I wasn't smashing in the gym. If anything, I was like skinny, chubby at that stage, 19, still a bit of puppy fat. And one of them made me like sort of lift my shirt to sort of
see the rig.
Yeah. And under the shirt, I had 4 stub marks that ran across my like shoulder to my hip, and I think a couple of them were a bit taken back by it, but Wellesley just looked at me. Wellesley, one of the coaches that I've huge respect for, just as a forwards coach, he was awesome. And he just looked at me and went, "And lad, you're a lucky bastard. That's why we're going to keep you."
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know whether they were. I mean, I'm presuming they were anyway.
They were going to shit you up.
Yeah. They just
don't blame them.
Yeah, it worked. I was like, oh man, I was so embarrassed being late. But imagine walking in, like, because there were so Dean was one of my schoolboy heroes. Like Wellesley,
Same.
Played with. Joel was a World Cup winner, and he turned up 20 minutes late, covered in curry sauce for the first ever appraisal. Then I just thought, how is this guy ever going to achieve anything? Yeah, mate, even on my first England tour, it took me a long time.
First England tour was where?
It was South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, 1998. So it was the end of that year.
What was the brutal tour? Were you on that one?
Yeah, 98, Tour of Doom.
Tour of Doom.
That was it, yeah. Mate, it was savage. I got that so wrong. I was desperate to sort of fit in, that I just got in with totally the wrong crowd, did too much boozing, and I was in like a
tour.
I've been at a private school where you weren't allowed to drink. I didn't do much drinking. Then all of a sudden you've been out for a year and a half at that point. So I was 19 still. I was still a child, really. Yeah, my approach to it. A load of the lads on that tour are from the amateur era, so the drinking was normal, drinking culture. I remember one of the lads saying before I went, whatever you do, don't do what I did on my first England tour and get stuck with the wrong crowd and go boozing all the time. I was like, right, got it. So first night we went out on a team meal, and I was really conscious of, right, got to do the right thing, get into bed early, So I went back to the team hotel like about 10:30, and we got back. I was with one of the other lads, and we sat down. It's like, where's everyone? No one had come back. So then you're like, shit, should we be out with the team? Is it like a bonding thing? So we went back out, and I don't know, ended up getting in at about 4 a.m. and finding myself in all sorts of got about 4 a.m. I was brutally hungover, and I was then ill. I picked up some bug off the back of it, ill for a week.
Oh, mate.
It literally couldn't have gone any worse, in all fairness. But some of the lads got sent home for whatever reason.
They got sent home from the tour?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
Who? We don't know. We're fine now. We'll find out later.
Yeah.
Was it what lads were on that tour? I can't even remember. What sort of group of lads was it? Because there was a load of young kids thrown on there, wasn't there?
There was.
Who were the senior ones on that tour? Was Johnny on that tour?
Yeah, so Johnny would have been one of the youngest. So there was me, Johnny, Josh Lucy, Pete Richards, all sort of young guys. Mate, it was
Go on, Pete.
Pete was a great player.
Great player, and great on the smash as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he had a nickname after that tour, which I'm sure he hates now looking back, which was Bestie, as in after
Was it Bestie?
George Best.
Was it Gaza?
I
can't remember which one.
Yeah, it could have been Gaza.
He's good on the piss, though.
Yeah.
Great lad.
But
what a player!
Yeah, but tours like that, he was
unreal player.
But tours like that was when, so 90s, you had the Lions tour 97, where all the legends were made, and Martin Johnson, first Lions winning captain in South Africa, and all that type of jazz. And that was, you got, what was it, the Living with the Lions?
Yeah, that's right.
All of a sudden, rugby's front and centre, and then come the following year, all those lads have a break, so all the England lads rest.
Get a chance.
And they put all these young lads in, and there were some of the old boys still around. Like, I think Dorse was the captain, I think, of that tour. He was actually not that old at that time. He had like Gareth Archer,
Remember
Arch,
big second,
Steve Ajomo, Ben Clark. So still some proper old school legends around. I think Graham Roundtree, Richard Cockrell, and then just a load of young lads like me, Alex Sanderson, Ben Sturnham, Tom Bime, Dominic Chapman.
Dom Chapman went to school with him. I wonder if he's still about.
Yeah, and so these guys, names that you will probably never remember, because, you know,
he was
just
rapid.
Yes,
Dom Chapman was rapid.
Yeah,
he was at Richmond, I think, at the time, wasn't he?
He was.
I think.
He was at Richmond. Yeah, but it was one of those.
Give everyone an opportunity to talk.
but it was shit. I mean, God, it was. I think it was for Clive an eye opener in terms of where he needed to go from where we were to where we wanted to be.
Right, okay.
And '99 World Cup was a progression there, and then it was an even bigger sort of mind shift from '99 to 2003.
Right. But that tour there, though, where were you?
What do you mean?
Where did you cover? Australia,
New Zealand, South Africa.
So you did those three as that squad.
Yeah, savage, mate. 9 weeks, 19. Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal, but it was the best introduction into what I shouldn't be doing, to what I fucking needed to be doing. Like, it couldn't have been better preparation in terms of understanding, okay, where I needed to go from in terms of where I needed to get to.
What was the game that you got spanked? Who was that against? What was the score?
Australia 78-0. Biggest ever defeat. Yeah.
78.
Thankfully, that was the week I was ill.
Right, okay.
The first night out.
That's probably a result,
yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it was. Missed
that.
God. But I probably would have got... So I think Pat Sanderson started ahead of me, who was on the bench for the 21s, which was England 21s, which is who we were both playing for at that time.
I think he captained England as well, Pat, didn't he?
He did, a couple of times, yeah. Yeah, he did, yeah. But yeah, so I mean, it probably was. You know, I remember Johnny playing in that game. I think he played at centre. It's difficult to remember now, but...
Yeah.
You know, people like Richard Paul Jones played in the back row, you know, stalwarts of the sort of club game that just, when given an opportunity with a load of stalwarts from the club games, just there weren't any match for these guys, you know. But also just the mindset and the attitude around training and all those types of things, you know, it needed to shift if we wanted to be really professional. And Clive was the best at that, although he had, you know... He had some wacky ideas. I remember being in a forward session and, you know, getting up from doing 1,000 scrums, you know, everyone's bleeding and hanging out their arse, and you look over and the backs are running around with brown paper bags on their heads. And then, you know, because there was you know, and the thinking behind it was genius, but I don't think, you know, in practice it didn't work. But that was Clive's genius, is that he was prepared to try anything, you know, if it meant it would give us an edge.
Extra 1%.
And he was, that sort of, well, we'll try it. If it doesn't work, we can bin it. You know, but when you've just been killing yourself for an hour on a scrum machine, you look over the backs and running around. The idea was that you boot everyone's got their heads covered. They say it's a blindfold, but it was bags. And when the ball's kicked in the air and someone shouts "go," you've got to then take it off and play what's in front of you. So there's logic. There's logic. Logic behind it, but. Yeah,
after you lot smashing each other and seeing it.
It didn't get brought back. I don't remember that one coming back.
What's the feeling like being picked for the British Lions? And did you enjoy that tour?
I really enjoyed that tour. I would love, of all the things I would love to have done again in my career, I would love to have gone on another Lions tour.
Okay.
Man, you know, playing against guys that you learn to hate, want to tear strips out of year on year, you know inside out because you watch all the footage of them. You literally try and hate them so that you can get on top of them in an international, and then you've got to figure out how to get on with them, and you realise actually that they're all decent, hard-working professionals like you. They want the same things. I could not have enjoyed that more, even though we we got absolutely annihilated on that Lions tour. So we lost all three tests by huge scores. And it was Clive's sort of, I think it was his only Lions tour.
Yeah.
But it just, that as a rugby thing, it didn't work. But mate, being involved, like coming out of the hotel where you've had your team meeting, you walk down the stairs for the first time and you hear the Welsh and the Irish lads and the Scottish actually cheering for you.
Yeah.
That was weird,
Yeah.
but it was awesome. And like, just the connectivity of it, seeing the fans around town, just getting to know the lads and then playing against them afterwards. That's probably the best bit. Obviously, I lived with Jordan Murphy, for
What
a
a
lot.
player.
Yeah, incredible player.
Do you reckon he's one of the most talented players you've ever seen?
Easily.
Same.
Easily. Just what he could do was remarkable.
Yeah.
And probably never fully appreciated. He was by all of his teammates. Absolutely. But, that Ireland didn't play the game that allowed someone like Jordan the ability to show off his skills. They had that sort of a Sarri's South African way of crash ball, high kicks.
Yeah.
Although Geordie was unbelievable under eye.
Yeah.
But
I remember when me and him first went to Leicester Tigers, he was getting the ball at halfway line doing drop goals and stuff.
yeah, his first game.
We were like, what?
Yeah.
Stuff that he was doing with, what's the sport he used to play? Was it Gaelic
Gaelic
football and
yeah.
running little dinks up the top and flick? He was just another level as a 19-year-old kid.
Yeah, mate, and he was skinny as they come on. Yeah, I remember that. I played in that game. It was against Coventry.
Yeah.
And the ball went back to him. It came loose out the scrum. We'd been scrubbing for half an hour at that point, I think, and the forwards loved it. We'll have another scrub. Yeah, scrub them all the way to the try line. And then the ball came loose out the back of the scrum, and I think it was Wasali Serevi, the Fijian legend, who was playing scrum.
He was unreal.
And he launched it to Geordie, who just sort of ended up with it behind the halfway line. And it was like, fuck it. And let's just have a go at it. And Darren Garforth, I remember being stood next to me, he gets up from the scrum, he's like, no, what the fuck are you doing? And then like halfway through his sentence, he's like, good shot. Yeah.
Good shot.
But no, when you just meet someone, they're just different.
Talent.
Geordie just had it. Yeah,
Proper
he was
talent.
quality. And he had no weight behind him as well. So like, anyone can play it. But yeah, no, he was class, mate. But so to go on a Lions tour, with, one of your closest mates, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was the next Lions tour? 2005,
South Africa, 2009 was South Africa.
Did you have an opportunity to go on that?
Oh, I didn't. Well, I was very close to being. So what happened? I'd been injured probably 4 months prior to it.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe longer. No, I'd been out.
Do you remember what injury it was?
I'd been out for a year and a bit. I had multiple injuries back to back. I tore my Achilles, had a hip microfracture, which is where the hip cartilage sort of gets replaced essentially. And then I snapped my ankle when I returned. So I had 3 back to back. So I was out for a year and a bit. And I just managed to get back and playing, but I was only on the bench. And to be honest, I was playing bloody awfully.
Yeah.
But I was desperate to go on that tour in 2009 because like Tom Croft had just come through, and it was just it was a good. And also after the disappointment of 2005 to go, you had Stephen Ferris. I mean, they had some great players go on that tour. So whether I would have gone or not, I don't know. But yeah, I would love to have done that one more time because there's a real connectivity about meeting those guys, getting to know them, building strong bonds. Obviously, going on the piss, some of the stupidity that you get up to.
Yeah.
We ended up in Taranaki. So this is what I loved about the game in New Zealand is that
Where was Taranaki? Was that North Island, South Island?
I've destroyed your table here, haven't I?
That's all right, mate.
Taranaki. Well,
I can't tell where it is.
Actually, no, I can't remember. I think it's South Island.
Was it South? I was in I did a season in Hamilton, which is the North Island.
Yeah.
Just student day. I can't remember if Taranaki was up there or not.
Yeah, I did geography A level. I got no idea. My wife's family lived there for 20 years.
So I don't know where it is.
I should know, but no.
I want to find out. Can we find out where Taranaki is? Just out of interest. Cheers.
Just go sort that. But yeah, well, like one of the things that I've enjoyed about rugby, where you don't really see as much anymore. So the post-game stuff.
Yeah.
We always used to mix with the sort of opposition and have a beer with them, like the post-match celebrations. If you were a debutant and you made your debut for your country, you'd obviously have to do the compulsory song. I did. What did I do? I did. You never close your eyes anymore. I guess that Everly Brothers or something, Righteous Brothers.
Yeah.
And you have to do that either in front of the bus if you're lucky, or on stage in the post-match function if you're unlucky. Yeah. Someone Judases you. But one of the nice bits about that is that each player, not everyone, but you're within reason. Most players will come up and share a drink with you. They buy it and they share it. So you'd have like a small glass of wine or, half a beer or something.
Yeah.
Or sometimes someone will stitch you up and get you
Pint.
pint,
Yeah.
shots. But as soon as the opposition realised as a debutant, they're then coming over and having a drink with you and a chat.
That's nice.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
Because again, you spend 80 minutes trying to kill each other, basically. And then afterwards you come and share stupid stories and you have a drink together. And I suppose for me in Taranaki, that was epitomised when after the game they were like, lads, we're all going down to the local boozer, and they all invited us onto the bus. So all of the players, all of the Taranaki
How good
players
is that?
on the same bus going to their local pub. And I spent all evening with Chris Marceau, who hadn't played for New Zealand at that point, and we were chatting. And he was like, "Mate, I want to come over to the UK. Where should I go? What club should I play for?" I was like, "Oh, mate, you should come to actually fuck off going to Leicester because
I'll be fighting
anywhere." We were talking about that, and then the following year he got capped, and we played against each other. So you have all this time in a pub getting steaming with each other, chatting about life and seeing where he's going to go, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, he's pulled into the All Black squad. He travels to the UK. He plays for the All Blacks. You play against him. Even more competitive when it's someone you've got.
Some sort of bond with. Yeah.
Especially playing against Geordie. So he would have spent all day trying to gouge me because he knew that the one weakness I had that triggered me more than anything if someone tried to stick their finger in my eye, kind of rage.
Yeah.
Because it's unprotected, isn't it? What can you do? So I was stuck at the bottom of a ruck. He's like, I can feel these fingers working their way into my eye. I'm like, who is that? I'm trying to get hold of the fingers. I'm going to bite you. I'm going to bite it. And then Geordie can sense I was starting to lose my mind. Yeah. And he's like, it's me. It's only me. As the Irish friend. I was like, you are a dick. Yeah.
Tell me about your latest trip to go to the Super Bowl last week. How was that?
Mate, that's cool. It was really cool. And this year was probably actually they have been to the Super Bowl once since then in 2014. But this year they've got a guy called Caleb Williams. They've got lots of incredible players and just knitted. And it was like, oh, okay. So Annie and a few of my mates, Sporsy and various others, contrived to get us some Super Bowl tickets, which was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it looked like the Bears were going to make it, and sadly they got knocked out in the semi-finals, quarter-final stage. So I was absolutely gutted because I was like, imagine going to the Super Bowl and watching your actual team play. So we ended up going for 4 days to Dallas. It was wicked.
Yeah,
it was wicked.
It looked great fun.
Yeah, Tins hooked it up, I think, with a load of his contacts. We ended up going to a rodeo.
Private jet.
Private jet, mate.
Where from? Where was that from?
Fort Worth. So we took off from Fort Worth. We literally left the morning of the game, got there just before, and then walked to the game. The game was obviously, sadly for anyone that watches NFL, one of the shittest shittest finals ever. But the spectacle, Americans do big game razzmatazz better than anyone, right? If rugby could sort of embrace a bit of that, excitement and razzmatazz, it'd be quality. But yeah, no, mate, it was bonkers. Tins is a remarkable athlete when it comes to drinking, his capacity. I'd forgotten, like I said, I don't drink that much anymore. And they were out there. He's like, mate, and he's just he's such a good guy, but he just has this ability to keep going. I'm like, mate, I can't drink like that anymore. 47, you're 47. You look 57, but mate, no, it was quality, and I'm eternally grateful to all those individuals. Like NFL UK had a big hand in it, and Tins and Sporsy and Annie. It's one of those things where people kept talking to me when I got diagnosed with M&D about sort of bucket lists. I was like, I don't need a bucket list. I've done a lot of enjoyment. I will continue to do a lot of enjoyment. I'll continue to do a lot of living. But bucket list has negative connotations to me. It's not that I'm unrealistic. But yeah, so that was definitely something that I'd always earmarked to do. That was nice to tick off the list. But it would have been even better if it was watching the Bears playing a Super Bowl, and it had been a decent close game, which it wasn't. Halftime show was all right though. The old
mate, by all the photos, we had a right laugh.
It was, mate. It was quite. We went to in the rodeo, and Annie enjoyed the Cowboys. She got pictures of Cowboys. She made me buy a cowboy hat. I don't know what that means.
Hello, sailor.
Yeah. No, mate. It was.
Lou, we could go on for hours and hours, mate. I've just looked at the clock. We're coming up to 3 hours.
Oh shit! What was the time actually?
Mate, this is, mate, we could carry,
Okay, that's all right.
we could carry on, mate. This is
Yeah.
fascinating. This is lovely. Loving this, mate.
Well, mate, I do know it's weird when you chat about stuff with mates as well,
Yeah.
isn't it? And I apologise if sometimes I feel uncomfortable sharing certain things. So, but it's just nice to sit down and talk about shit, isn't it?
Yeah, mate.
Is there if you had one thing that you enjoyed talking about today, what was it?
Everything, mate. I've loved this. Every minute of this, I absolutely loved. I could go another 2 or 3 hours doing this.
You're going to cry again.
No, I'm not.
Here you are.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you?
Oh mate, well, I was done. Oh yeah, I was gone earlier. You'd fully gone. You'd fully
I
gone.
know.
I was looking over there for about 5 minutes. Hey,
Look away.
yeah, mate, it's been lovely to come in. I know we talked about coming in for a long time.
Yeah, mate. This is lovely.
It's funny when you're mates, isn't it? And you do podcasts and shit like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, history's
beautiful,
a fun
mate.
thing to talk about.
Before we finish up here, have you got anything to say to the beautiful Annie and your boys?
Oh man. There's probably a lot to say, but just grateful, mate. I'm just lucky. I have an amazing family, kids that are loving, kind, hardworking, fucking annoying when they want to be. As I suppose I probably am to them. But the fact that we just get on so well and have a great time, it's just I always say this when people express. When they talk about me, I just like, we're simple people. And I just mean that in not a derogatory way. It's just we don't yearn for big things. Life's simple.
Yeah.
Simple pleasures, time with them, laughing, getting out, doing things, experiencing life and seeing people succeed as well, seeing the boys find their feet and their journey. Dylan's off playing football, signed his first pro contract. How cool is that? Ethan's
Southampton and now England.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, mate. He's flying and he's had his own ups and downs already. Fractured back. He's just had glandular fever. So, he's going through his own journey, which is awesome. And he'll learn, how he adapts his mind to progress and wherever it takes him. Ethan just started his rugby journey. So he wants to play for Bath. That's his absolute goal. He's just started in the pathway there. So when you see them find...
What a player.
Well,
Ethan coming on. I've seen him tackle, mate. Like he's taken after his old man. Put it that way.
Angry gene.
He was an angry
gene. Yeah. Dylan's got the Dylan's much more considered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ethan's got the angry gene. I think it's probably it's the perfect fit for both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, mate. Like, what would I say to them? I'm grateful, lucky, loving family that I appreciate greatly, and yeah.
And Annie, what a rock over the years. What a rock.
Mate, I've been very lucky. You're saying you're trying to make me cry again, aren't you?
No.
You are. You're just like, what can I say here?
Not at all.
No, I am lucky. I'm lucky. I hope that didn't seem insincere. She is a phenomenal woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you put in situations like this, you need strong people around you, and I feel lucky that I know I'm sorted with that with Annie, and whatever the future may look like, she'll be there. And when you chat to anyone else that's had these types of conditions or diagnoses, then what I've found they tend to say is that those close, supportive, loving individuals are the ones that you need. Are the only ones you're going to need. Yeah. Because they'll be there no matter what, and that's family, I suppose, isn't it? And mate, a lucky man as you are with Fleur and Alf. I feel blessed and blessed. Oh, that sounds very religious, doesn't it? But I feel like I do feel lucky. Yeah, I do feel lucky because 20 years, right? It's a strange one. I don't like to think about time too much anymore.
We always spoke about it for years. Remember?
Absolutely.
Always, yeah.
It's always annoyed me.
Yeah, same.
I got annoyed by time because the pressure it puts you under when someone's like, right, you got to get it done by this.
Yeah.
It's like, why? Why do you need to get
leave them alone?
Fuck. I mean, it can be sort of focusing, can't it, in terms of you need to achieve something.
Yeah.
But equally, it's like a target that you sort of, I don't know. It's like when you're born, there's a sort of target that you're moving towards. Actually, if you didn't have any of it, hey, this has gone fucking random now.
Oh, mate, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. This has been really nice, mate. I've loved it, mate. I've loved every minute. Lou, you're a superhuman being, very humble. You're loved by millions. You've got a lovely family and lovely friends around you, and you've got this.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, love you bits, mate.
Love you too, man.
Nice one, man.
Thank you.
Cheers for coming in.
That's all right.
Let's have a hug.
Pleasure. I've been nearly a piss for about an hour and a half. Cheers, man.
Mate, I love that. Love that.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you'd like to see someone on the show, leave a comment below. And if you haven't already, do us a favour, show us a bit of love, press the subscribe button, and it allows us to grow the show even bigger and bigger each week. Nice one.